भुवनेश भुवनेश
हेलो हेलो सर, मीना बोल रहा हूँ सर।
हाँ मीना, आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ आ रही है सर। आप वीडियो करिए, आपका
वीडियो आ रही है?
नहीं आ
वीडियो
रहा।
आ रही है?
नहीं आ रही सर
अच्छा
वीडियो।
वीडियो स्टार्ट करते हैं। वीडियो स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं।
हाँ सर आ रही है।
वीडियो आ रही है ना?
हाँ वीडियो
आप अपना
आ
वीडियो
रही है।
खोलो। आप अपना वीडियो खोलो। हाँ, आपका खुल गया। लाइट नहीं है जी, लाइट कम है। लाइट कम है, चेहरे पर लाइट नहीं है एकदम।
वहाँ शैडो आ रहा है ना सर, ब्राइटनेस ज्यादा आ रहा है इसलिए।
पूरा सेट है, पूरा लाइट एकदम पूरा अंधेरा है।
हेलो।
और हाँ,
लाइट करा दो।
लाइट ऑन कर लो। थोड़ा आपके मीना आपके चेहरे, हाँ आप थोड़ा लाइट पड़ा, लेकिन कैमरा सामने रखो ना। आप कैमरा सामने करवाओ।
नहीं सही है सर, वहीं से मूवमेंट में कैमरा अभी आज।
मेन मेन
ये सर
क्या हुआ? अच्छा आप
ये सीधे भी काम करेगा। हाँ करेगा सर। हेलो।
अब लाइट तो ठीक आ गया, लेकिन कैमरा का डायरेक्शन देख लो, कैमरा का डायरेक्शन ठीक है कि नहीं?
नहीं ठीक है सर, कैमरा
सर अभी लास्ट में हम लोग जो है हम फ्रंट सीट पे बैठेंगे तो
हाँ ममता मैडम सीधे बैठेगी। हाँ तो सीधा ही रहेगा क्या?
अच्छा मीना, अच्छा ये भी पीपीटी भी आप लोड चला के देख लो, पीपीटी चल पा रहा है कि कैसे चलाना है, क्या करना है?
चल रहा है सर, कितना रोहित जी का चलवा के देख लिया सर।
पीपीटी शेयर करके दिखा दो।
आप लॉगिन हो क्या?
मेरा
अपनी तरफ से पीपीटी चला के देखा।
Is it okay sir?
हाँ जी, आ गया ठीक है, आ गया फर्स्ट क्लास। चलिए ठीक है, फर्स्ट क्लास।
ठीक है सर, आप म्यूट कर ले।
हम अभी बंद कर देते हैं।
चालू रहने तो लिंक तो सर म्यूट कर दो दोनों को। वीडियो को तो म्यूट करके रख लो सर।
लॉगिन है पहले भी।
भुवनेश, मीना,
तो मैं
अच्छा ये
पीपीटी के पास में है,
पाला
आपको व्हाट्सएप कर दूं क्या?
पाला तो वेब में पाले ऑनलाइन है राजू सिन्हा है ना, उनका चेक करवा लेना।
हाँ सर अन्य कॉल किया था, वो थोड़े बिजी भी करेंगे,
मेरे को ईमेल
कॉल का रहते भी कर लेंगे।
जो जैसे जैसे लोग आए एक पहले से चेक करके रखते रहो।
करेंगे ईमेल आईडी सेंड या
पीपीटी अपलोड करवा लिए बात तक क्या है। अशोक जी को रिंग की थी तो वो फोन काटे थे, 5-7 मिनट बाद दोबारा कर।
ठीक ठीक।
नोटिस
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, आप भेज दीजिएगा, मैं अभी आपको वो कर रहा हूँ व्हाट्सएप। हाँ, you can send it, you can send. Okay, I will.
भुवनेश
जी सर देखिए।
अच्छा टेस्ट कर रहे हो? आवाज कुछ कम गई है।
आवाज कुछ कम गई है। नहीं सर कम तो नहीं होनी चाहिए सर। पास आएंगे तो फिर। हाँ सर अभी बताएं सर।
नहीं।
हेलो
हेलो।
हाँ ये आवाज ठीक आ रही है।
हाँ आवाज ठीक आ रही है।
बढ़िया है। मैम आपका करने में
मिले
Somebody else.
My last name is Gori. Chara. R.I.
और
Ohri.
मैम आपका डेजिग्नेशन क्या है उधर?
Gori. GM. Marketing. AGM.
एजी
Good afternoon, sir. Raju Sinha, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
भारती जी नमस्ते.
नमस्ते सर, नमस्ते. भुवनेश्वर, लाइट कम हो गया है आपके कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में. लाइट बहुत कम हो गया, डिम हो गया.
हाँ,
ये वो लोग के कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में लाइट नहीं आ रही है. हाँ, आपकी क्या लाइट?
मेरे में तो ब्राइटनेस तो पूरी है. आ नहीं रही.
आपकी सर, आपका नहीं, उनका सर, AICTE के. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How do you do? How's everything?
All well, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining, sir.
We will start very soon. Our honorable wife, Chairman sir will join us. We will start in short while. Today we have an opportunity for conducting this very important webinar on 5G course and establishment of use case labs in engineering institutions. This 5G technology will impact the entire telecom ecosystem of hardware, software, and services which are critical for the implementation of other futuristic technologies like IoT, machine learning, communication, and advanced communication engineering. Now, on this occasion, it's my immense pleasure on behalf of Dr. Mamta Agarwal, Advisor 1 and AICTE family, I heartily welcome our eminent and distinguished academician, Professor T.G. Sitaram sir, Honorable Chairman AICTE, at the forum for guiding us and creating an awareness of 5G courses and essentially about job opportunities in 5G technology, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I heartily welcome Shri Raju Sinha ji, Director General NTI PRIT at Ghaziabad, who has spared his valuable time with his technology, spurred us in emerging areas like advanced communication. Warm welcome for Professor Brijesh Lal, our eminent academicians, Professor Brijesh Lal, Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Delhi, and Professor Krishan Kumar Shiroi ji, Bharat School of Telecommunications and Management, IIT Delhi. Eminent personalities from the private sector has also joined us. I welcome Ms. Ashima Kakkar ji. Ashima Kakkar, Head Marketing, Next Level Business Services. Ms. Parul Ohri, AGM Marketing, Telecom Sector. And Mr. K.N. Jha, AGM Telecommunications Sector Skill Council. I also welcome Sri Ashok Kumar ji, DDG Wireless ACS, and in the last but not least, Sri Alex Vivek has also joined us as an ADG SRI DOT, and Sanjay Kumar ji, GM TCIL. And in the last, I welcome Alok Bharti ji, DDG SDG DOT, New Delhi. Our faculty and also I welcome our faculty from institutions and other guests who have joined us online, and all the AICTE officers and officials. Today we are going to have an enriching session, and I again welcome and thank you all for being us to understand and implement the way in technology. Again, warm welcome, sir. Please.
National Telecommunications Institute for Policy Research, Innovation and Training, NTI-PRIT, is an apex telecom training institute in the country under DOT. I request Sri Raju Sinha ji, Director General NTI-PRIT, to address speakers and participants to set the theme of today's webinar. He had experience of 25 years in almost all the verticals of telecommunications. Your speech will be very useful for all the audience. Sir, please address.
Thank you. Respected Professor T.G. Sitaram, Sahab, Chairman AICTE, respected Dr. Mamta Rani Agarwal, Policy and Academic Planning Bureau, Technical AICTE, Professor Brijesh Lal and Professor Sirohi from IIT Delhi, other learned speakers in the session. I'm not naming everyone. Participants from AICTE, professor and students from various technical institutes, telecom sector skill council members and their participants, academia, officers from DOT, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon to all of you. I thank you from core of my heart for the invite and opportunity to address the August gathering on the webinar on very important and relevant topic, 5G course curricula and establishment of use case lab. Dear participants, as you know, telecom sector is the most powerful in India for the socio-economic development of the country. And this engine is now being driven by the new and powerful fuel of 5G. 5G is becoming available in two avatars. One, a conventional public avatar, and a more exclusive, lesser known private or non-public version. The private avatar is far more relevant and important for India compared to the conventional public 5G, as we have seen the era of 2G mobile, 3G, and now 4G there. So similar will be another public 5G, but the lesser known private or non-public versions is going to play more very important role. India needs to leverage private 5G heavily for its socio-economic transformation envisaged in digital India. The benefit from this could be enormous, and not only for the telecom operators or telcos, but also for several non-telecom verticals. Now, why we have assembled? The objective is to how emerging technologies like 5G networks, along with others like AI, blockchain, IoT, and various others, can be replaced to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. As we all know, in short term, it is taken as SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals 2030, while impacting various other domains. Another objective is how leveraging of these technologies help create business opportunity in various domains. Also, enablement of ESG in short form, which is termed as environmental, social, and governance. So also enablement of ESG adoption by these technologies. So the whole effort is towards smart education and skill development. SDG 4 of Sustainable Development Goal 2030 at one para states that ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So this I unquote from here. And in this process, it envisages, firstly, the equal access to technical, vocational, and higher education, relevant skills for decent work, gender equality and inclusion, universal youth literacy, and lastly, education for sustainable development and global citizenship. On the face of it, everything looks achievable. But when we see it from the perspective of the developing nation and the challenges that are faced with, achieving these targets looks like a Herculean task. There are some common challenges in the current education system in the developing world, and in some cases, even other nations. These need to be overcome to meet the basic objectives. And besides quality teachers that we treated as mandatory, besides quality teachers, standard classrooms, access to quality libraries and laboratories, personalized learning, application-based learning, skill development, three more important verticals are evolving curriculum, academic integrity, accessibility and inclusive environment, and last but very important is entrepreneurship. So the last two ones I would like to touch upon, where we are all giving the stage to the webinar, is evolving curriculum and entrepreneurship part. So the background of development of 5G course began with the setup of 5G high-level forum by government in September 2017 to articulate the vision for 5G in India and to recommend policy initiatives and action plan to realize this vision. The three priorities for India in 5G envisaged were deployment, firstly, that is rolling out early, efficient and pervasive 5G networks to maximize the value offered by this new technology. Secondly was technology itself, building India industrial and R&D capacity in the design and IP dimension of 5G. And third objective was, very importantly, manufacturing. That is expanding the manufacturing base in 5G for both semiconductor fabrication as well as assembly and test plants. So these were the high-level task force goal setup. So that in short is termed as HLF. So HLF set up 7 task forces further under a steering committee. One of such task force mandate was on education and awareness program on 5G. So steering committee in its report gave recommendation towards structured skill development in 5G area. So we at NTA followed it up the direction from the steering committee, and we formed an expert group at NTI in October 2020 for creating education and awareness program on 5G. I'm proud to inform that members of the committee were from our institute itself, DOT headquarters, TEC, IIT Delhi, NASSCOM, FICCI, TSSC, and 1 or 2 more. So the deep study went into, and report were prepared, and the committee recommended. That is very important. What committee found out? Elective course curriculum for UG. That there may be an 40-hour elective course on advanced mobile communication covering 5G and beyond. The committee also prepared curriculum for the same. Second one was awareness program curriculum for UG and PG students. That is, all the UG students should also be given smaller duration awareness training on 5G. The committee prepared a 14-hour course curriculum for the same. Third and last one was course curriculum for the postgraduate. That is, the committee recommended course on 5G and beyond in Indian PG courses that AICTE needs to include for the PG courses. NTI sent the recommendation of the committee to AICTE for its acceptance and followed with them with very nice meeting with learned authorities there for its inclusion in the standard curriculum of AICTE. AICTE, we are proud and happy to inform that AICTE has updated existing elective course on mobile communication and network and included 5G topic, and it's introduced as core course named EC26. That it is mandatory for every student now. Following elective course have been added by AICTE as recommended by the committee. I'll name those numbers. ECEL09, which covers advanced mobile communication, covered 5G technology in detail. Second one is ECEL17, that is Internet of Things, covered 5G and other communication technology required in IoT, that is Internet of Things. AICTE has also added semester-long elective course on 5G and 14 hours awareness course for computer science. So now 5G is with the computer science. The curriculum that committee designed also focused on these courses to promote entrepreneurship. The 2 point, if you remember, I focus that is evolving of curriculum and entrepreneurship part, other than those required to enhance the skill development. So towards entrepreneurship, while designing the curriculum, we have focused a few areas. Times of India readers today might have noticed a good front page ad caption by Computer Form, which says, "Doing is the new learning." That's a very, very good caption, which leads us towards entrepreneurship. Once youth have foundation knowledge at UG level, 5G education can be leveraged by students about entrepreneurship. It allows them to create and market their own product. This can help a student develop use cases, business skills, and learn about marketing, sales, and application development right from the first stage. This can unleash the spirit of entrepreneurship in the country, leading to economic revolution. This, while designing the curriculum, we tried this hard that they should promote by studying. They give natural enthusiasm towards it. To facilitate this process right at the institute level, Department of Telecommunication has approved establishment of 5G use cases lab in various institutes. Process is on, and this will be detailed out by my colleague in the session. So before I conclude, let me mention way forward in this area. Once the AICTE has included the curriculum, the first point, the institute now have to start offering updated curriculum. For that, we have all assembled here. Faculty development program for new added course may be prioritized by AICTE. Thirdly, the course curriculum may be reviewed periodically. This is very important as things are changing very fast. So AICTE now will give opportunity to us, include us in the review of the curriculum added. A recommendation given by NTI-PIT for updation of PG level course may please also be considered by AICTE. Fifth point, focus may be given for telecom related research by PhD students. Once lab is there, it will more help out. Lastly, NTI-PIT will continue to suggest updation of existing curriculum and new curriculum in the field of emerging telecommunication and related security area. With those curriculum, NTI-PIT will again approach AICTE for its inclusion. So thank you again for the opportunity given to me, and best wishes for the success of webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable address. Now I request Professor T.G. Sitaramji, eminent and district mathematician, chairman AICTE, to inaugurate the webinar and address the speakers and participants. Sir has a great working experience as professor at IIC Bangalore and as director at IIT Guwahati. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar to everyone. You're able to hear me? Yeah. Thank you very much. Very good afternoon to all of you. Mr. Sinha, Director General, NTI PRIT, Alok Bharti ji, Ashok Kumar ji, Mr. Vijesh Lal, in particular Professor Sirohi, and all my colleagues at AICTE. I'm very happy to be part of this 5G and beyond research and use case development facility, which is being created at IIT Delhi. And I'm very happy to be part of this, and I'm very happy to launch this today. And friends, all of you will agree with me, the emerging 5G technology has the potential for major societal transformation. Government of India, under the inspirational leadership of our Honorable Visionary Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, has launched several path-breaking initiatives such as Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, for leapfrogging the country into a digital economy. That's where the 5G plays a major role. And the vision for 5G is driven by inclusivity, so that no corner of the people participate in this, particularly rural and underprivileged population of our nation. So this emerging technology, 5G technology, will be the connectivity fabric.
Audio is not coming, sir.
Yes, sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir,
Audio is not coming.
Can somebody confirm?
yes, yes. Okay.
Oh, now it's okay? Are you able
Now
to
it
hear
is
me?
Yes.
It's okay? Hello?
Yes, sir. It's okay now, sir. Please, sir. Please.
Thank you. I'm very happy. And first of all, let me congratulate Professor Krishna Sirohi. He is a practicing professor of practice at the Bharati School of Telecommunication at IIT Delhi. That clearly shows how IIT is are able to link up to industry. And this is where industry and academia interaction is very critical. I just was at the BW education today talking about the industry and academia interaction, and AICTE is doing taking a lot of initiative to the industry academia interaction, so that our graduates and students are trying to be industry ready in the courses, so that they will be able to contribute directly without losing any time. Because all these technologies are also changing so fast, I think it's very important for us to gear up and adapt ourselves to these. Thanks to COVID has helped us to actually leapfrog and also adjust ourselves to learn and do things very quickly. And our younger generation is doing a fantastic job in that direction. And AICTE is trying to cope up, changing. So we are there to help introduce both the undergraduate, postgraduate courses related to 5G, and ministry has a bigger, call this to see that we also have some test facilities at every institutions. And I thank the Department of Telecommunication also has set out a call. We have circulated that to all the institutions to show interest to develop use case development facilities at their institutions. So these, I think, could be a very example what has been created at IIT Delhi to other institutions to emulate and follow. I'm very happy to be here, and I also see IITG's, IIT Delhi's presentation, which is taking these technologies to the completely next level itself. They go beyond even 6G. So I think there is a greater hope as well as challenge for all of us. And I'm very happy to be part of this event. I congratulate again the organizers for inviting me to be here with you. And I'm very happy, and we will support all the initiatives to reach to the nook and corner of the country through our educational institutions. I wish the particularly IIT Delhi the very best. Congratulations. And Professor, he invited me to be with you. Thank you much. Namaskar.
guiding us.
Able to hear me, or you again lost the contact? Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It will certainly benefit all the participants. Now it is the time to invite our first speaker, Professor Brijesh Lal, Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Delhi. He was the chairman of the committee formed for development of course on 5G for undergraduate students. I request him to make a presentation on 5G and use cases, AICTE course structure on 5G and way forward to start. It is over to you, sir, for next 30 to 35 minutes. Thank you.
Let me unmute myself and share the presentation. So is the presentation now visible?
Yes.
I hear echo. I think there's feedback in one of the locations. I don't know which one. And now I don't have it. Thank you. So I'm putting it on full screen mode. Do let me know that the slides are visible and then I'll begin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are the slides visible?
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
perfect.
sir.
Thank you. So let me start. So as has already been told, the journey thus far has been about this high-level 5G forum, followed by these committees that got the 5G curriculum in place. Now, today, what I'll try and do is talk about 5G technology in general. Why is it different from the previous generations? Why is there talk of use cases when we talk of 5G? What is the way forward? And how can we make 5G a little more accessible to people so that, for example, the startup ecosystem can be made more vibrant? So that is essentially the topics that I'm going to cover today. The exact details of the curriculum can be taken from from the document which captures all the details and also our discussions. So let us first start with the evolution. What we must understand here is that it is always been a human endeavor to improve things. So when people were stuck to a wired phone, they wanted mobility. So there was the start of 1G where you had analog mobile phones. You could move about and talk. So that is what was enabled. It was analog communication at that point in time. This changed with 2G, which for the first time talked about digital communication and also a cellular structure. So in some sense, 2G represents the start of standardization, which impacted the entire globe. There is a reason why studying 5G, which is essentially a standard, is so important for people working in the area of communication, because communication, so there's theory, but when theory translates into practice, it is driven by what the standards allow you to do. And standards are not mechanisms to constrain you, rather they are mechanisms to enable you. And that is the reason why you see a new generation of standard every few years. Every decade you have a new generation, so that more and more capabilities are enabled. So thus far what we have seen is analog to digital, circuit switch to packet switched, and higher bandwidth in data or packet switched. So you did hear about voice over LTE. Voice, instead of being circuit switch, which is the primary mode in which you would want to use voice, because voice, you want to keep the channel or the link available for the duration of the call, unlike data, which is bursty traffic in nature, and you want packet switching there. So, but because the packet switch bandwidth was so high, it was very easy to enable packet switch data over it, and yet meet all the requirements you have of the real-time data which voice represents. Now, I think the voice breaking issue is quite common here. I had difficulty in listening to some of the other speakers, but we'll have to live with it. I'm close to the mic, and I hope at least some of you can hear, and all of you can hear at least some of what I'm saying. Right. So going back to what I was
very audible. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much for that feedback. All right. So as we move from 4G to 5G, now that is where things start getting interesting. So while people moved from 4G to 3G to 4G, all they wanted to do was enhance the bandwidth. The killer product for 4G as for 3G was video calling, which did not take off all that much, and that for 5G 4G was higher bandwidth. With 5G, that changed. If you look at the triangle, the blue triangle in the middle, it points towards the three vertices point towards the three pillars of 5G. The vertex on the top points towards enhanced mobile broadband. Enhanced mobile broadband is what an improved air interface of 4G would have looked like if nothing new had happened. It talks about extreme capacity, it talks about extreme data rate and deep awareness. So this was essentially improved 4G the way 3G evolved into 4G and 4G would have evolved into 5G. However, 5G took a different path. Look at the two other vertices that we see at the bottom. One on the left of the screen is for massive machine type communication, which is high density, which means lots and lots of concurrent connectivity connections, ultra low energy, because some of these sensors would be quite far away from sources of energy and you would want whatever battery powers them lasts for a long time. And deep coverage, you want to reach the farthest corners of the geography where the application is being deployed. The third vertex is ultra reliable low latency communication. And as the word suggests, it's about low latency and high reliability. And of course, strong security because of the kind of applications it enables. And this triangle is fundamental to the reason why we talk of use cases. When you look at 4G, the kind of use cases that develop, they are the kind which enabled access to streaming data, or they allowed you to connect with your friends via WhatsApp or Facebook or similar such technologies. So those were the kind of applications that were being developed. More than use cases, they were applications that used the capability well. But the moment you move into the 5G paradigm, things become very, very different. You now have capability for concurrency, and this gives you one of the capabilities of the plethora of use cases that you'll hear about. The IoT is now going to be enabled. This IoT, which is now being enabled, will have a multiple number of use cases, from pollution monitoring, weather monitoring, to enabling safe transport, intelligent transports, what have you. There are multiple such applications that will be enabled by the MMTC. With URLLC, you will end up with some very, very interesting and futuristic kind of applications such as remote surgery, autonomous driving, and it will slowly lead you to the domain of augmented and virtual reality, augmented reality more than virtual reality. So this is the reason why when we talk of 5G, it is very, very important to understand that there is indeed a very, very important requirement to carefully consider the possible use cases. So deploying 5G is just the beginning. That's when you start taking advantage of the capabilities that you've enabled. And that is the reason why there is stress on teaching people about 5G, teaching them about the capabilities. While we don't only talk about the capabilities of 5G in such a course, we also talk about the underlying techniques so that... Oh, all right.
Maybe, sir, maybe you can mute your
video,
so that will help.
I will switch off the video. Please give me a minute.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I think I need to stop the presentation for that. I'll stop video and continue. Give me a minute, please. And I think the PPT is now visible.
Yes, yes, sir, yes.
So the audio should now get better. All right. So the previous slide, yeah, let me just complete a little more the points here. So therefore, use cases have become important. Now, once use cases have become important, this is what is enabling the startup ecosystem in the country, because it might be difficult to set up a network so that you service a city. But once such a network is set up, it is quite easy, and quite easy is a relative term here. It's relatively easy for people to come up with new generation use cases and fully leverage the capability. Therefore, you will hear about a lot of use cases. Also, another big change that is happening is move towards the next generation. So things don't stop here. People are also talking about moving to non-terrestrial networks. The advantage of non-terrestrial networks is connectivity which is not lost even in remote areas. So the contiguous coverage, which is not possible by terrestrial alone, wireless networks can be enabled using non-terrestrial networks. So the move towards higher quality, more capable, potent connectivity does not stop with 5G. As a matter of fact, it begins here. The next thing that 5G brings to the table is a lot more softwareization. Hardware dependence is slowly going away, except for the RF front end, which is where the antenna is. Most of the other parts can work on COTS hardware. You just need the right software to be able to enable it. And the moment you have control over some of the aspects of the underlying network, deployment of use cases becomes even more capable in terms of what it can offer. So this is the other reason why 5G is a good change to have happened, and it certainly will lead to a lot of development in the country. The third thing that's happening is this is especially true for MMTC, which is the kind of the use cases that you associate with IoT. The endpoints are relatively simple hardware, and such hardware can be extensively produced in our country and not only used within our country, but it can also become a mechanism to export to the other world, to the rest of the world. So this is how 5G is changing the way we look at communication, and it's enabling a lot of possibilities for strong use cases. The next thing that we'll want to talk about is what are some of the key things. This is a general 5G architecture, which I will not dwell on too much. There are two other interesting things that have happened with 5G. One is what is known as network slicing, and the other is what is known as multi-access edge computing. So the idea of edge computing and on-demand slicing are two fundamental changes in which the connectivity and its capabilities are going to be made available to the people. Slicing essentially is giving guaranteed service to a user, and a particular type of service will be guaranteed. For example, enhanced mobile communication, or you could do ultra reliable low latency communication. So that is what network slicing does. And edge computing, what it does is it brings intelligence to the edge. Once you bring intelligence to the edge, what happens is you reduce the latency even further. Now, it is interesting to note that people look at video and speech and worry about latency related issues. But the next modality that will be serviced by the next gen networks and some current generation networks is haptics. The latency requirement of haptics is even more stringent. And not only the latency requirement, but the availability and reliability requirement of such devices is also extremely high. Therefore, now this is an interesting thing to happen. While you are working with 4G, you struggle with your development of haptics kind of applications, but you don't have any mechanisms to make it happen over public land mobile networks. So you look for private networks to enable such services, teleoperation, not surgery, but teleoperation, which means operating machines in a mine or in other dangerous situations by a teleoperator who's some distance away. For such applications, before 5G, you would have had to set up a network which was reliable by way of putting in fiber optic or high bandwidth wires, or wireless that you had good control over and you were able to guarantee availability and high bandwidth. But with 5G, that is a service that the technology itself guarantees. So now what has happened is 5G has further provided thrust to the development of haptics. Tactile internet, which was being talked about, will soon become a reality, and therefore haptics will become more commonplace. Similarly, there was talk of metaverse. The work in that area has slowed down a little, but the development in the space of AR, VR, augmented reality, and virtual reality is going on in the background. So now what has happened is you have 5G, which has now allowed you to think of applications and use cases beyond what you thought you had the capability to deploy. So the deployment capability of such 5G networks encourages us to think beyond, come up with use cases which are futuristic. Another opportunity for deep tech startups. So there is opportunity for people who know how to run the business at one end and people who are interested in deep tech at the other. So 5G allows you to come up with startup and technologies in this entire spectrum of the level of difficulty vis-a-vis the technology, underlying technology. Then the next thing that is not enabled by 5G, but 5G is prudent enough to acknowledge the importance of is AI/ML. AI/ML has changed, and rather is changing the way we look at machines. Chat GPT, I mean, I doubt if there's anybody in the talk today who's not heard about Chat GPT. It has changed the way we access the material from the web. Rather than searching for it, you just ask questions and you get relevant, accurate answers. So the machine is able to make sense of the question that you've asked, do the right kind of search, and present the result or the retrieved information in a form that you were expecting it to be in. Now, that is the strength of AI/ML. And like I said earlier, it is extremely prudent that 5G and beyond have acknowledged and realized the strength of AI/ML and are willing to incorporate more and more of this technology in current and future generations of communication. Then let's talk a little about multi-access edge computing, because that's the test bed we have at IIT Delhi. Because the next thing that I want to talk about is the test bed that we have available at IIT Delhi, and the one we encourage you to come and use for running certain use cases. So what happens with multi-access edge computing is, if you look at this, is the cursor visible as I move it along the slide? Okay, good. So here, typically what you used to have is a core network and you had cloud centers. This is where all the processing used to be performed. However, this requires you to go all the way up to the core and then come back and go to the other endpoint, which could lead to unnecessary delays and also lead to issues related to privacy. This can be circumvented by keeping co-located MEC servers. So multi-access edge computing, you have a computer which is co-located along with the base station. So now what happens is some of the processing and the computing needs are serviced by the MEC itself. Thus, doing both the things, it is able to reduce the latency, and two, it is able to preserve privacy. The privacy does not go beyond this local processing center. So because of this, applications which are related, say, to haptics become a reality. Applications such as drone delivery, such as autonomous or driver assisted transportation become a reality. So these kind of applications which require very low latency and high availability, these become possible to be implemented. So in the testbed here at IIT Delhi, we have the core in place, we have the RAN and the core located MEC server in place, and we have UEs in place. So people can put their applications on the different entities and see how it works. We've also come up with algorithms and protocols for dividing compute capability between the server endpoint and the MEC server. So all of these capabilities will be made available. Also, we've run a couple of buildathons or hackathons using this test bed, where we invited parties to come and do some implementations which required low latency and high reliability capabilities. So all of this is in place already. If we were to look at it in more detail, this is how the test bed at IIT Delhi exists. While I focused primarily on the edge computing capabilities, we also have a MMTC. It is not that massive that we can call it MMTC yet, but it does talk of multiple number of sensors deployed throughout the campus, and we are able to connect them via NB-IoT right now, but also LoRa and Wi-Fi. So you have heterogeneous connectivity to multiple sensors at different locations on the campus, and all of that is aggregated and brought to an application server which sits in the core. So the two kinds of capabilities are now available here at IIT Delhi. One is massive connectivity kind of use cases, and the other is low latency, high availability kind of test cases. We also have demonstrated and have applications related to video, haptics by way of haptic gloves for controlling a robotic hand, and control and data generation using drones. So all of these capabilities are available at the testbed we have here in IIT Delhi. Then the other thing that I want to talk about is a more comprehensive list. So this is not the only thing that IIT Delhi worked on. As part of the 5G testbed, which was a multi-institute effort, went on for three and a half years, ended sometime last year. Other than the MEC platform and a feature set on top of it, we have a Li-Fi testbed, which has transmitter, receiver, and MAC layer access points. We have smart IoT multi-sensor and data pruning capabilities, which have been added for energy efficiency. For 5G security, multiple standalone applications have been developed, and they are available for improvement if people so desire. There's physical layer key generation, low latency provenance for low latency applications. So not only have we deployed IoT networks, we've also created capabilities for data logging, data visualization, and data analytics. The connectivity for IoT devices is heterogeneous, as I already mentioned. We use Wi-Fi, Ethernet, NB-IoT, LoRa, GSM, to name a few. And as part of the activities that happened here at IIT Delhi, contributions had been made to the baseband algorithm for channel equalization, channel estimation, and some decoding for PDCCH. And all of these algorithms found their way into the baseband module created by IIT Madras. So this is primarily what we built as part of the existing 5G network. Now, on top of this, what we are now doing is we are building stronger applications in way of AR, VR, and enabling haptics capabilities so that we can run them on 5G applications. So we have these capabilities as core network, and the application layer, we are focusing on two things. One is what we call haptics related applications, and the other is improved computer vision and natural language understanding related capabilities. One other interesting setup that we have at IIT Delhi will be talked about in more detail by Professor Sirohi. Professor Sirohi and his team have created a network in a box, which makes it very easy for people to take this 5G network around. test applications on top of it and possibly even build applications on top of it. You'll hear more about this from Professor Sirohi. The other thing that we are trying to look at is communication. Now, the idea here is that all of this effort that we are doing for telecom network deployment and standardization and design is to enable communication. The primary communication modality was speech, and then people started using it for data access. With data access, then they started using it for video streaming, for conferencing, and such other applications. Now, there is this effort that's happening here at IIT Delhi where we're trying to build the next gen unified communication as a service platform, where not only does it handle all the existing modalities seamlessly, it also incorporates next gen QoE and concierge services along with support for newer modalities such as right now haptics and 3D at some later point in time, so that AR VR can be natively handled along with haptics applications such as immersive gaming, immersive social interaction, and teleoperation. Finally, the idea here is, and this audience in particular, till this point in time, what I've been talking about is the opportunities that have now become available because of the way 5G has been designed. By the way, India has been contributing to the 5G work in the way that academia and industry has come together to build fundamental frameworks and applications for 5G and 5G related technologies. All of this has now reached an area, a level where a widespread dissemination of this knowledge is required, and therefore there is this need for faculty development program. This particular slide here, and I will share the PPT later, can be viewed by the people and they can see how we can set up more such faculty development programs, because this will make sure that the knowledge percolates first from the contributors to the faculty and finally to the students, so that they can go back to the industry and make strong contributions. So this is all that I want to talk about. I'll be happy to take questions if there are any. So do we have any questions? So in which case I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Back to you, please.
Thanks, sir. Engineering institutes will be encouraged to start course on 5G from coming semester, taking valuable inputs from your presentation. It is time to invite our second speaker, Dr. Dinesh Singh, Director Policy and Academic Planning Bureau, AICTE. I request him to deliver his lecture on leveraging of SWAYAM portal for FDP and credit course. Over to you, sir, for next 10 to 15 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please share the. Very good afternoon to all. We generally think that SWAYAM is just a one word of Hindi, but actually it is the abbreviation of study webs of active learning and young inspiring minds. The brief description of SWAYAM platform is it is one of the world's biggest online e-platforms, offering free of cost learning, covering wide number of disciplines, either engineering, humanities, or etc. Availability of courses are available.
Why is not clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, now it's audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, it's audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Courses are available in 12 regional languages as well as in the English language. Qualitative evaluation of the participants is there, and the award of certificates to the successful candidates are given in the credit form or in the grading forms. Summum platform offers 40% credits transferred to Summum under choice-based credit system as per the UGC notification. Now, I have to share the brief background of Summum portal, how it has been implemented, how it has been originated. As per the directions from the MHRD, now the Ministry of Education, AICTE has developed one of the world biggest platform, namely name as Summum, hosting the online courses as a MOOC within the country and globally at any time, anywhere. The first phase of the project was completed within the 3 months, and the second phase was completed within the 1 month, and it was completed by the 7th June 2017. The Summum platform was fully modulated within the span of 1 year and was inaugurated by our Honorable President of India on 9 July 2017 at Vigyan Bhavan. The third phase of the Summum project was completed, and AICTE achieved a milestone by declaring the Summum platform on go live for all the participants, that is online, on 20th December 2017. The mission of the Summum aimed at creating a comprehensive and integrated system for enhancing the efficiency and effective education at all levels, especially a transformational change in the mode of education, pedagogy, and style of learning of students in online mode. This is our mission of the Summum. Now, there are the certain objectives of the Summum. Mainly, there are the 3 cardinal principles of education policy, that is SS. SS means easy and free to all. Any participant can access globally from anywhere, anytime. 24-hour services are available. Equity, free for all, and quality. Qualitative efforts are there. All the contents, e-contents are developed by the academicians from the IITs, NIITs, IIIT, IIM, and other eminent institutes. Now, the Summum is able to bridge the digital divide between the students who are not able to cope up with the digital revolution. So that MOOC courses are the free online courses available for anyone who enroll. MOOC provides an affordable and flexible way to learn new skills, advance career, and deliver quality educational experiences at scale. Most significantly, MOOC build on the engagement of learners to self-organize their participation according to learning goals, prior knowledge and skills, and common interests. Three key characteristics are revealed, that is, varied definitions of openness, open to everyone, anytime, barriers to persistent. He can enroll for any type of courses, nothing to do with the engineering or something like that, and a distinct structure that takes the form one of the 2 pedagogical approaches. Next slide. Now, the 4-quadrant approach of the Summum portals are e-tutorial. First is e-tutorial, which includes video and audio contents in an organized form. Means when you are looking on the video, then in the same time you are reading the contents. That is systematically and synchronized, very much synchronized, and we can listen and read at the same time. Animation are there, simulations are there, video demonstrations, and virtual lab. Only in the virtual lab we can perform the practicals, whatever we perform in our lab in the physical mode. Now, the e-contents consist of the self-instruction material, consist of e-books which are provided for ready references in the free of cost, and crystal clear illustrations consist of crystal clear illustrations, case studies on specific emergent topics, presentation, web resources are also available on the Summum portal, so that the student can avail these facilities free of cost. Discussion form is provided for raising doubts, queries, and seek clarifications with our eminent tutors. Self-assessments are carried out by problem solutions, multiple questions, quizzes, assignments, etc. Apart from the distinct silent features of Summum portal, it has the you have seen the certain silent features, which I have discussed. More than 1,000 special tuition faculty and teachers are engaged in developing the courses for the 7 portal, 12 in regional languages, which I have specified earlier, 9,000 plus courses and 20,000 hours of learning material with more than 3.3 crore learners across the globe. Nearly more than 2.3 lakhs foreign enrollments from the 217 countries are with the 7 portal. And the UGC and AICTE regulations always has an encouraging and allowing the students to earn the 40% credits among our 5,000 online credit-based courses. Apart from these distinct silent features of 7 portal, also has the 18 key functionalities are like as content creation, approval, publishing, course design, enrollment, selection, student enrollment and registration, course payment and refund, registration of educators, document storage, course catalog, certificates, publishing activities, email and messaging, alerts and reminders, role-based students management, business role configuration, integration with external agencies, and request and issue checking. Now here you can see how many courses are available. 9,353 courses are available. These are available free to all the participants, all the learners. And till today, we have plus 3 crore plus enrollments with us, and out of which 16.7 lakh certificates has been awarded to the participants, and nearly 200 plus courses has been translated into the 12 regional languages. MOE has, Ministry of Education has appointed 9 national coordinators for the 7 for conducting the 7 courses. The certain courses are technical, non-technical, engineering, non-engineering, diploma, certificate, school education programs, out of school children's, dropout students, management education, teacher training institutions. These are the 9 distinguished institutions along with the AICTE, UGC, and PTL, ICNOI, NCRT, NOIS, IIM Bangalore, and NITER Chennai. There are certain unique courses. Apart from the general courses, there are unique courses which are offered by the national coordinators. These are the numbers which has been offered by the national coordinators. Maximum has the NPTL and AICTE. AICTE is also engaging with the foreign university and with the AICTE. Total 2,767 unique courses has been offered on the 7 portal for the student. Even semester has been started from the January 2023. For this semester, there are nearly 1,065 courses has been allotted to the various schemes and for available for all the participants, all the learners, and UGC along with all 9 national coordinators are offering these courses. And AICTE is also offering 6 courses, out of which 5 are new and 1 is for the region. Region means these are the maximum participants at the last time. So for the demand of the students and the institutions, we are rerunning these courses. So these are the statistics for the courses offered for January 2023 semester onwards. The credit fund framework has been directed by the as per the UGC. The UGC notification in the March 2021. AICTE has also adopted the same patterns for the transfer of credits up to the 40% in 40% of all the courses of that semester. And as the para 4.1 UGC Regulation 2021, the schedule of based online courses has been aligned with the conventional educational semester system for the January and for the January for the even and July for the odd semesters. Now we have listed the 6 online credit courses announced in the January 2023. Mainly consist of the yoga. There are 4 courses on the yoga for concentration, for memory development, for voice culture and creativity, and it has been developed and run by S. Vyasa Bangalore University. And another new course is Introduction to Intellectual Property. It has been developed and conducted by the IIT Kharagpur. And the last one is the basic of remote sensing, GIS and GSS technology, ISRO with IIRF Dehradun. 7 platform, including of the regional, each we have a globally recognized, and the nearly 217 countries. Participants from the 217 countries are benefited from our 7 portal. One of major countries are the Argentina, UK, US, and all these countries has been, some of the major countries has been listed here. Now the last is what is the benefits of the 7? Enrolling the participants or the students or the faculty members, how they are benefited from the 7 portal. As courses are developed by the eminent academicians from IIT, IITs, IIM, Institute of Eminence, MNCs, and other distinguished institutions. That's why it is the best in class instructors. We have the best in class teachers, very eminent and distinguished professors have a vast experience on their subject. Second is the learning Indian languages. Courses are offered, as I have told you, courses are offered in 12 Indian languages, like Bengali, Assamese, Odia, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Urdu, and English as well. Now we have a procedure for conducting the exams after completion of during the course also, and after the completion of that program. We have assignments. After every unit, we have the assignments for the students, and after that, which is known as an internal assessment, and after the completion of the course, we have a computer-based exam. An internal assessment carries 60%, and the external exam consists of the 40%. Very easy credit transfer is there, as I have discussed. I have told you that 40% of the credit transfer for the total course of that semester. After the successful completion of the course, certificates are awarded to participants, and it carries the grading system also, and it benefited for their ACR or APR for the participants also, and for the placement of the students also. The system, let me discuss with the process how the SAGAM portal carries out. First is the learner, then it registered in the SAGAM portal, then it enroll in the scheduled courses or credit courses which he has for his price, in which he has enrolled himself, then the course is consumed, the proctored exam, get certificate, and on the other side, on the between, we have the specific courses, and on the left hand side, there are the self-paced courses. It means that the curriculum, out of curriculum courses, availability of courses throughout the year, whereas the other courses are has a restriction that will be available depending upon the institution and upon the tutor. Are targeting 3 or 4 courses, but these courses are out of curriculum courses are available throughout the year, and they can enroll at the same self-paced courses which are out of curriculum courses. Next is the AICTE. This has to be started yet again. Now we have we are talking about the 5G. So the 7 portal has also the 2 courses already running on the 5G technology. First is the evaluation of air interface towards 5G. It's under process, and nearly 3,172 participants have enrolled in this 8-week course, and this has come coordinated by the IIT Kharagpur. The second course on the 7 portal is optical wireless communication for beyond 5G networks and IoT. And nearly 3,164 learners have joined this 12-week course, and it's also on the process, and it is conducted by the IIT Delhi. Thank you very much for joining with us. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Ji, for explaining features and strength of SWAM portal. AICTE is requested to rope in experts to get started. Course on SWAM platforms for recently approved 5G course for ENC and CSE branch. Friends, in addition to formal engineering courses, government has taken various initiatives for vocational education to impart required skills directly related to a job role. Our next speaker is Ms. Parul from Telecom Sector Skill Council. TSCC is an industry-led apex body jointly set up by the Cellular Operators Association of India (COAI) Indian Cellular and Electronics Association (ICEA) and National Skill Development Corporation (NSDC) to ensure adequate availability of skilled manpower to boost growth and productivity in the telecom sector. I request Parulji to make a presentation for us on awareness on short-term skill courses on 5G under Karma and PMKVY 4.0. Over to you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Can I? What should I? So can I go over there? Yes. Yeah. So I can at least use this.
Then before you start to ask other members, your voice.
Okay. Hello everyone, could you hear me? Can you hear me? Is my voice audible?
Voice audible नहीं है, एकदम नहीं audible.
Not audible? She's not audible? And someone confirm if the lady who is presenting her slides, if she's audible, she will speak immediately after with her name. Hi, I'm Parul. Am I audible? Good afternoon, everyone.
Not yet.
All right, on behalf of TSSC, I would like to thank everybody for giving us an opportunity to be here among all esteemed members. In the beginning, Dr. Sinha was talking about doing is new learning. And I have been teaching gifted children as well as special needs children, and I understand that that is a very important quote because hands-on experience gives us an opportunity to learn. So thank you, sir, for talking about that. And now I would like to start my presentation. With the message from Honorable Prime Minister that it is necessary to ensure that the youth excels not only in studies, but also in skills. So that's what we do in Telecom Sector Skill Council. When we talk about Telecom Sector Skill Council, sir, it is an industry-led apex body jointly set up by COAI and Indian Cellular and Electronics Association, also in association with the National Skill Development Corporation. Telecom Sector Skill Council acts as a bridge between the ministries, the industry, and the supply-demand gap. We accommodate by skilling the manpower. We have trained about 10 lakh candidates, and we have about 1,000 plus training centers. We have 58 job roles. The focus areas where we work are government schemes, CSR projects under which we make COEs, paid courses, international projects. And, we have created our own platforms, that's TSSC Learning, and our own job portal, which is Telco Jobs. TSSC governing body and advisory board consists of our esteemed members, Mr. Akhil Gupta from Bharti Enterprises, P. Balaji, Vodafone Idea, Mr. Pankaj Mahendru, ICEA, and our very own Mr. Arvind Bali, who is our. We have 58 job roles in which we impart the training. The job roles have been divided into subsectors. We have divided them into service segment, handset manufacturing segment, passive infrastructure segment, network managed segment. And the top players in service segment are BSNL, Airtel, Vodafone Idea. In handset manufacturing segment, we have Foxconn, Lava, Dixon. In passive infrastructure, we work with Indus Towers, Jio. In network management segment, we work with Nokia, STL, IBM. Also, our associations, as we talked about it earlier, is COAI, ICEA, DIPA, and BIF. So for our courses, we have divided them into handset and manufacturing segment. We have telecom, customer care, executive, handheld devices, and these courses are all NSQF level 4 courses and beyond. Then for the 5G, we have information and communication technology, base station subsystem support engineer, information communication technology technician, telecom technician, and many other courses, sir. These have been divided into theory, practical, on-job training hours, and these are short-term courses. Under passive infrastructure for our 5G, we have infrastructure technician for the 5G networks course, sir. And in service segment, we have territory sales manager. And our prospective employers, the companies we get the LOIs from, and then we talk about place and train model and RTD model, and these are Jio, BSNL, Vodafone Idea, Airtel, AT&T. Here in this slide, we are talking about our futuristic courses, the 5G, IoT, AI, ML, cloud, drones, and retail. Popular job roles with TSSE are 5G project engineer, AI data analyst, cloud computing test analyst. Drone monitoring is a very popular course these days. So telecom SSC job roles on AICTE Karma portal, sir. We in all three models we have the courses, and when we select telecom, the drop down list comes and then the course can be selected. Also, these courses can be done in lieu of internship. TSSE has created a digital platform where we are integrating courses from national and international knowledge partners. We have a 5G skilling program from DADB, which is a German company. Also, we have 5G RF planning, which is with RIU Global. And we have 16 more courses aligned, and these courses are short-term, like they can be done conveniently from home. It has courses in 5G technologies, drone technologies, and hosts courses on fiber technology, FTTH, RF planning, store management, and many more courses. We have also created a job portal where the employers and the employees can meet. We have more than 10,000 jobs. And also candidates who are looking for the jobs. This is the place where they can meet, and we can help in placements also. And I would like to thank everybody for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thanks, ma'am.
How many people will be registered as a person?
Currently, 694 attendees. And ma'am, it is also live streaming.
Now I request Professor Krishna Kumar Sirohi, Bharati School of Telecommunication Technology and Management, IIT Delhi, to make a presentation on 5G use case lab, purpose and needs. He has worked in wireless technology, 4G, LTE, 5G access and network, millimeter wave technology based product for strategic communication, and commercial network applications, network security, and IoT-based system and solution. He has vast industry experience. Over to you, sir, for next 30 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to participate in this important event, and quite a lot importance has already been conveyed by earlier speakers. Professor Brajesh Lal has set the ground and made it easy for me. So my job would be little incremental from where he has left with respect to IIT Delhi's initiative of setting up the test bed for others' use. And I would focus not only 5G, but the beyond part as well. And not only the use cases, but advanced use cases. And will share my view on purpose and need and our preparation, how we can help in this national initiative. I'm hoping that I'm audible well. Please, someone should confirm.
Can hear you loud and clear, and we can also see your slide, but if you can put it in complete slide mode, then it will be better. We will be able to see it better. Thank you.
But it is in a complete slide mode from my side.
Yeah, it's complete. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So do you see my slide changing also?
Yes, yes. We are at research beyond publication.
Perfect. Thank you very much to confirm that. Now, as a national goal, what is understood by us that we need to find an effective way to go beyond publication. The research goal should not be just having a prominent publication in prominent journals worldwide, but also translate this research for developing useful solutions. And useful solution, our definition is that these useful solutions should be field deployable. Field deployable means it has to be cost effective, it has to be globally competitive, must address various disciplines. And if these are being done by using research which is being done today, and if these solutions are being evolved immediately after research is completed, then these solutions should be ahead of state of art. And we should target that these solutions should meet our emerging national needs. This is the goal, a bigger goal at which IIT Delhi is looking at. And we know that to achieve these objectives, our research team alone is not good enough to do this bigger task. And so we need and support and very collaborative working with industry experts who have already developed such solutions in their life. They have experience of how to evolve globally competitive deployable solutions. So if we can somehow create a good mix of this team where we have got globally recognized researchers out of our academic institutions and also a smart architecting and development team, then these goals of research translation finally leading to solution development for the national needs would be realized. So we are driven by this major concept. So we have set 4 goals of this initiative, what we call IIT Delhi Academia Industry Collaboration. So the first goal is that when our industry experts work with the academic researchers, then the research which we are carrying out, it becomes much more relevant. So after adding the more relevance to the research, I am actually not denying the fact that some of the research must remain blue sky. And one of the definition of blue sky is that researchers, while developing doing this research, is not really sure who will use it, when it will be used, for what benefit it will be utilized. We have great importance of that level of research. But some portion of our research efforts must become use case driven, and so we want to bring that product and the use case relevance to the research. That's the first major goal. Now, to make research implementable, then there is a huge need of creating an experimental setups. Possibly this is one of the reason why our research is remaining theoretical, that experimental setup of that value at the pace at which we are doing an advanced research, those experimental setups are not available in the country, and so there has to be a major effort in creating those setups. The advanced researchers are actually not skilled, not having enough time which is needed to create such experimental setups. So you need a specialized people to do that job. Now, if we can develop a mechanism while I am developing a solution architecture, and this solution architecture would utilize 80% of the technology building blocks which are already existing, and if I'm waiting for remaining 20% of the building blocks which will come out of the research which is yet to be taking place. But these research are driven by the use case for which we are developing the solution. Then we can create a product development mechanisms, and this product would certainly be ahead of state of art, because normally what we have is we publish the papers, some other people picked it up, they do for some implementation POCs, normally done outside our country, and then maybe we happen to receive or buy those equipments possibly after 5 years, 10 years of this research which was done, right? So we are very late. Now this mechanism will allow us to create solutions ahead of state of art. And the fourth and the most important part is also aligned with the national goal, is that the technology or the building blocks which we are developing here, they becomes the seed technology for the entrepreneurs. Now, an entrepreneur cannot become an entrepreneur only just he has money to spend. He cannot become an entrepreneur that he has got all aptitude to be an entrepreneur unless until he has got a seed technology over which he want to create a technology business. And from where this seed technology will come? Will it come from his own experience if he work in an industry for few years, or do you expect this seed technology will come while he is doing his undergraduate or postgraduate? No. So this has to be a systematic mechanism in the country where a potential entrepreneur can get the seed technology, can get the seed money and start his luck. So this is something which we want to try out as part of our initiative. Now, when I'm talking beyond 5G, 6G is already on the way. Now, there has been a national announcement to the world that we want to be a global leader in 6G by 2030, and we will be deploying 6G in our country in the timeline of 2030. So as Professor Brijesh Lal has mentioned, that every 10 years, technology, 2020 was marked as a start of 5G. We took 2 years to start deploying the 5G in the country. Now we don't want to be that late in 6G. So 2030 we will be developing, we will be deploying, we will be developing those solutions. We want to take lead in standardization, and all these standardization activity would start in the next 1 or 2 years. So if that means the research which will be need to be carried out for those 6G are being done today, or rather being done from last 5 years. So if we want to take a leadership role in 6G, I think we need to focus too much on 6G ongoing research.
Your slide, we can't even hear you. Sirohi sir, if you can hear us, we can neither see your slide nor hear you. Somebody call him up.
In 6G, so we have various expectations. sensing of various aspects at everywhere, actuating things at every place, creating the data collection and monitoring, analytics, intelligence. So all these will be an integral part of the 6G networks, and compute, which is normally supposed to be at the end, which is today we know as the cloud compute. In 5G, we have created a mechanism that mobile edge compute. So some of the cloud is available at the edge of the network itself in order to cater adequate computing near to the function where it is needed, which is absolutely necessary for the real-time applications. And now we are going to create the necessary fabric of compute in every part of the network so that it can suitably be realized. And the connectivity, of course, it's needed everywhere. Now, if you look at this deployment, I hope my cursor is visible.
Sequencing बस देख लो कैसे अब जा रही है
मोटा
sequencing.
मोटी है सर, ठीक है। सीक्वेंसिंग
उसको भी सेकंड हाफ में एडजस्ट करना
नहीं, ये
पड़ेगा.
हमने
I'm listening some disturbance.
इसमें हमारा ये विजिट
फर्स्ट वीक में
फर्स्ट वीक में ले लिया, अगले दिन हॉलीडे भी है।
Am I audible? I'm listening
Please
some
mute all
disturbance. There's some
participants.
crosstalk.
सर राजू सिन्हा जी, सर म्यूट कर ले अपने को।
Sir, Sirohi sir, you can carry on now.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm seeing, I'm highlighting those opportunities which has become a true opportunity for us to contribute and pick up. So there is no reason for us to remain behind and only a consumer of the technology which is developed worldwide elsewhere. We are now finding the way where we can create a technology ourselves. Now the 6G is creating some such technology opportunities for us, that by 6G, the beginning has happened in the 5G itself, and rather something called Open RAN architecture, where the network is completely disintegrated. Hardware is being commoditized so that it can be generated, manufactured by anyone. So ultimately what we are trying to do is creating a room for the small companies. Earlier, a few years ago, the entire telecom network business was controlled over 95% by few tier 1 OEMs. Now the tier 1 OEMs are finding it difficult the way the innovative solutions are being developed by the smaller companies, and we as a country, as India, need to find those options where we can create something better than what others are doing and meet our need perfectly. Now, if you see the deployment scales ABC, which is global, regional, and wide areas, these are the standards way of the equipment development has already been done, and 5G, 6G will continue on this. But if you look at the local specialization, which has been created an opportunity by setting up private 5G network, which was discussed by someone in the beginning, that 5G private network is something where many of the problems can be solved by us, and we should visualize 5G network as a local area network, a wireless local area network. Why not Wi-Fi? Because the 5G has created many significant aspects in the radio technologies, so that it is capable of meeting many of the real-time and high availability requirement which is necessary for building any critical infrastructure. These aspects will go further in 6G, when you will also have an opportunity of hyperlocal specializations. And hyperlocal specialization is something a 5G network will not be limited to some campuses like IIT Delhi or your academic institutes, but they will be a moving networks. Moving network could be my ambulance, could be a moving network. This ambulance would have a 5G network or 6G network in future. Even the body area network, a person will move as a 6G super local network, where many of the sensors along with these are connected to the 6G network and then getting backhauled to the network in some suitable manner. Right? So these are the opportunities, and when you are developing these local specialization and hyper local specialization solutions, these solutions would be unique. And these solutions are not driven by the global standards. What is driven by the local standards is only limited aspects, and we don't have to deviate from there. But the innovation lies how we are defining these systems, how I'm defining a healthcare system for the rural area, how I'm defining a healthcare for my mobile medical units, which about more than 3,000 units are supposed to be operational in the country. Because I cannot set up an excellent facility of the physical hospital in the villages, can I set up some 10,000 mobile hospitals, and each one is equipped by all special advanced capabilities which can be controlled by the experts at the main hospitals. So this is the kind of the opportunities we are going to have, and we all need to go together to address this market and taking the lead. Now, this is another perspective I want you to just consider. What is going to give us opportunity to create a new solutions? So the new solutions would come from the overlapping stages of these three worlds. One is physical world, second is the digital world, and the third one is the virtual world. Now, when everything is being digitized, we're talking about digitization of everything. That means in a digital world, for every physical activity, there is a digital twin replica. Now, based on that, the data available in the digital twin, you are going to give a kind of visualization which is AR, VR based, and you can possibly help someone to get a better visualization and also carry out the task in a much different way with the capabilities of AR, VR. If the AR, VR, which is a part of the virtual world, if the use case is only an entertainment and he's not supposed to be doing anything, then this virtual world could be a subset of a digital world. But if this virtual world, by somebody's guidance, if this person is supposed to be making a maintenance of a physical world machine, then there is an overlap. And the amount of the overlap, you will have a newer solutions. Now, how this overlap will increase? It will increase by the continuous enhancement of the network capabilities. And these network capabilities are growing from 4G to 5G to 6G. Now, if the network is being developed today with 5G, it will have a higher capability of the digital world. And now higher capability means it will be able to control the physical world much better. It will be able to have a newer solution for the virtual world, right? To manage the physical world better, you will have a much more enhanced digital and virtual world. So these are the areas where the new solutions will come. And we need to train our researchers, we need to train our educators, we need to train our students so that these solutions can be visualized, implemented, and tried out. What we are seeing these as a research-based solutions opportunities to remain ahead of the world, to be a large community of Indian researchers and innovators. It cannot remain limited to only the IITs, and so we need to build a mechanism how it will be replicated at every places. And there are already strong mechanism by the government of supporting this by funds to carry out activities of the technology readiness level from 1 to 6, and also industry is getting ready to support these activities of technology readiness level from 7 to 9. I think this is something which we need to understand and convey this message to our students. When we talk about what kind of facilities would actually be needed in our campuses, it is not only just one box which can be called as a 5G 5G test bed. We need to find a mechanism that this lab has got a purpose. This lab must be solving some particular problem. This problem could be agriculture, this problem could be healthcare, this problem could be something else which is actually going to be solved by this. So if you have got an application specific, you might need to do some research either yourself or associate yourself with other institutions which are doing a better research, right? And then you have to develop a solutions, you have to carry out the POCs and prove that solutions in your campus. So that means your campus needs a test network. IIT Delhi, we plan to create, we have created the lab. Now we are expanding it to the entire campus. I think each and every academic institute must plan of setting up these campus. Now these campus-wide networks will give you an opportunities of graduating from inception idea and simulation idea to the integration lab. You can create experimental lab, you can do the trials, you can do the performance evaluation, you can do the interworking with the rest of the systems, and you are really ready to take this solution to the field, to the customer. This is the goal of setting up the lab. It is not only just one equipment, and we are sure based on our experience that these research goals cannot be met by the commercial products. Because if you buy a commercial product and set up your lab, the commercial product owner will not allow you to make any change in that. It is his IPR, he cannot share the design with you. It is his IPR, he cannot share the source code with you. So then has to be some other way. So to address this, we at IIT Delhi have developed these solutions ourselves, leveraging the open source initiative worldwide, implementing them on the commercially of the self hardware equipments, right? And now we are optimizing it for the more optimum hardware design ourselves. So this is the approach which we have taken at IIT Delhi. It is the extension to what Professor Brijesh Lal has mentioned earlier. And these test lab where the communication capability is the central of all these use case application areas. All these multidisciplinary application areas are going to be solved utilizing the very latest capability of the communication networks. And so these communication labs or communication research facility is going to be instrumental if we develop the solutions of all these areas. These areas could be of a military importance. These areas could be of agriculture importance. These could be for healthcare, smart manufacturing, agriculture, monitoring, precision agriculture, whatever. So we have certain areas already chosen by us, which we were working, particularly for the rural healthcare centers, which are based on the 5G and beyond capabilities, which will be enhancing the mobile medical units of the National Health Mission. It's one of the example for developing those critical real-time communication infrastructure, where the robotic control, how robots can be controlled wirelessly is actually the theme of the 5G and beyond. Right. So as a part of this, we have already realized these labs, 5G, their various mode, NSA, SA, and the ORAN. These have been done. Some of the stages are already been done. Stage 2 is progressing, and stage 3 is also progressing in that. So this is, I think I'll skip more details on this. If you look at this slides, in the center, these are the servers on which we have the various functionalities. One is catering for the core network, something for the radio network, and etc. etc. We have created two such parallel setups. One which is used for the continuous development by our team. IIT Delhi has already spent a few crore rupees on this. Some 4-5 crore rupees has already been invested in creating these facilities, and now these facilities are actually ready to be replicated at other places. If you look at this all this hardware is the COTS hardware, is the generic servers, and this hardware which is white with antenna, this is also a very popular hardware called SDR card from NI, which is capable of using for any experimental purpose from 1 gigahertz, less than 1 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz, right? And you can realize a 4G, 5G, and 6G networks utilizing this COT network. When we were doing this, we understood that this can also be simplified, and we can create a desktop version where 3 compute cards and 2 such white cards, which are SDR cards. One of them is good for putting up the core network functionality. Another for the radio network along with this white box becomes the G Node B. So this becomes the network, and third compute card with one of these becomes the UE. So if you want to do a 6G research, you have to do some changes at both the side of the network. What are both the side? One side is your radio equipment, which you call mobile or smartphone, and or an IoT device, and second side is the base station and the rest of the network. So if you need to do air interface change, then the change need to be done on both the sides. Now, if you have got a network, but you don't have the design control to change anything in your smartphone, then your purpose of making air interface change will not be done. So you will not be able to do a 6G research unless until you have got a design source code of the UE, or what is called the mobile equipment. So this is a one test bed, which is a desktop version, and we wish it should be replicated at 1,000 places in the country. While doing this, we also realize a small box like this, where we could place one compute card and one such SDR card, and this becomes a network in a box. So it's as a black box. We proposed for the defense for this application in the Indian Navy, and we were also selected as a winner of the IDEX innovations, right? Which is specializing for the machine type communication for the 5G network for Indian Navy. Going forward, we analyze that what is our offering now to the rest of the country. So the rest of the country, we are now offering these two solutions. One solution is for the 6G research, which includes and source code. And when we say that this is a offering to the academic institutions, now we know the entire design, we know the source code, we can make the changes in the source code. We have already made a lot of changes in the source code. So this know-how, not only the equipment, this know-how we offer to other institutions, so that they don't have to start from the scratch. They don't have to spend 4 crore rupees and maybe some 20 man years of the efforts to reach to this level. We want to guide other people, and so that their starting is much higher. So this is one offering. A second one, this is a black box of the 5G network, and this can be utilized to developing any use case. Now, when we say any use case, the use case can be developed even on the network capabilities of 5G, which is offered by Airtel and Jio. Then why do we need to set up the 5G lab in academic institutions? One, of course, that this lab can be utilized for educating our students, but for the purpose of development of the use case, our use case must utilize the network capabilities which are not there in the commercial network so far, but it should be there as a part of this box, so that by the time operators will launch those additional capabilities, for example, ultra low latency. So ultra low latency networks has not been launched by Indian operators so far, right? So if you want to develop a critical IoT solutions based on the ultra low latency, then this box, which will be there as a 5G lab, use case lab, then it should support an ultra low latency. So this is the way. And in future, if your use cases are going to be field deployable, globally competitive, then they have to grow into the features. 3GPP is a global organization of standards which are going very fast. Almost every year there is a new release, and the solutions would be compliant to the latest releases. Now it is impossible for any single organization to remain compliant with those standards which are being released. We offer this service from IIT Delhi, that we will keep this box always updated to meet the use case development requirement. So this is the offering which is very unique in the country. Now going forward, this box is really good enough to be set up in lab which is indoor, maybe some 40 feet by 40 feet of a hall. Now, if I want to put this lab in this setup in an ambulance, or I need to set up this in a military vehicle, then this has to be vehicle mountable. So we have created this box. This hardware is actually same what goes into it, but it is a suitable packaging, and which is good for your moving hospitals. So this is the kind of thing which we have already done, and we are happy to share our experience, equipment, help in setting up these labs at the various places. We also want to go through a multiple use cases. So the multiple use cases, we have created some use cases of, say, air pollution monitoring device, and also created an energy meters, not in the way as the others have created. We have utilized very path-breaking research of AI ML, which been done from last 5 to 10 years in our institutes, and this research have been utilized in this, and which gives us a significant engineering advantages. These significant engineering advantages, if I mention, that power consumption of this box, which is supposed to be air polishing, monitoring device, power consumption of this device is 1/100 of a nearest other competition. If some other equipment put some X megabit data to the network, megabit per second, this puts only 10% of that data. So this is the kind of a system engineering gains. And when you have power consumption less, when you have a data connectivity requirement less, then you get additional benefits, something like its compactness, its cost, and and many other ways of getting the extra benefits. Something like it has to be made, if it is required to be made grid free, it can be made grid free. A very small portion of the solar panel is good enough. If I'm talking about its usefulness in the smart meter, the smart meters, energy meters collects every minute or 30 seconds data which is being dumped at the network end every 15 minutes. That is only for the purpose of the billing. Now we are able to collect every second data, and which is being dumped to the central place for analytics every minute. Now the granularity of this data is so much that from this fine grained data one can do an analytics, and also can detect the fault which is there in the electrical appliances being used in our houses or in enterprises. So this is the opening up a new set of innovative solutions. I think we need to target those solutions in which are being developed in the world, but also not so much matured, and we can be ahead of them. Now there's many other use cases which are of the nature of say border surveillance, which is radio network which can be fitted into the defense vehicles, or which is on the ground or on the ships, right? And we can do say predictive health maintenance using this technology. We can do disaster management, like many years ago when the earthquake came in the Bhuj, the C-dot exchange was deployed and became operational in half an hour, and that was one of the best example of the world of managing the disaster management communication infrastructure. The kind of nib which we have mentioned, this can be taken there and it can become operational in 2 minutes. So that is the kind of advantage of disaster management solutions by this. And we need to find our ways to improving these capabilities. Commercial examples includes ambulance deployment, AR, VR applications for various agriculture and education and telerobotic health, etc. And Industry 4.0. This is something important, that without being leader in manufacturing in the country, we will not have a right place in the world. And to become leader in the manufacturing, our industry must graduate to 4.0 and 5.0, and to have a communication infrastructure, it has to be 5G network, and this 5G network would be the private 5G network. I think we need to sensitize our researchers, our students on these aspects to make these systems suitable for Industry 4.0. Probably you need to work on more aspects like time synchronous networks, ultra high reliability, and the low latency capabilities of the network, much beyond what is normally offered on the air interface, right? So so this is almost a summary that all these deep tech research and the solution development areas, we want to be party and want to be collaborator with many people to take this initiative further. I think I need to escape. I'm not sure how much time I have. Bhuvnesh, do you have a few more minutes, or I need to close here?
Discussion. So if need be, we will cut down. You kindly continue.
All right. So so going forward, so the test bed configurations, we can do some 3 options of the test bed. We can do kind of a simulation mode where you need only 3 compute nodes, and then option 2 is the compute node with 2 SDRs. So the option 1 does not need the SDR, so it is only the compute node and very cost-effective solutions. And then these SDRs are little costly, If you're talking about 40 megahertz, then it is about 2 lakhs rupees, and if you're taking 100 megahertz of the bandwidth, then it is more than 12, 13 lakhs rupees, and so this becomes little expensive, but it allows you to do non-radiating and radiating kind of solutions. And option 3 is actually completely full-fledged network where you can have UEs also, and this is what actually option 3 infrastructure is actually needed for the institutes. Various models of collaborations. There could be one simple model where we can just provide you a little guidance wherever you are stuck for the purpose of your competency development, doing the projects for the students, carrying out the major dissertations. But if you really want to go for a collaboratory R&D model, we are prepared and we have our strength already organized to help you in this aspect. As far as the goals we want to set, that the 5G use case lab, the first box is actually suitable. There's already a scheme of 100 numbers to be deployed, and we will be satisfied if this number would become 5,000 number by 2025. Each engineering college will have multiple such boxes, and beyond this engineering college, I think there should be many more innovation centers, and those innovation centers would come up with very worthy solutions, and so this number we should target something like 5,000 numbers. And second one is for the 6G research, and this number also I would expect should go for the 1,000 numbers by 2025. So these are my visualization how, if you really want to take this activity at a national level. I'll skip this. These are the 3 models where one, we are putting up a center of excellence with the research as a goal. Second one is setting up innovation centers and providing kind of those seed technology and some reference design of the use cases. And third one is only for the competency development at the colleges, right? And so these are some more details of the network, how you have a core network, how do you realize, say, G node B, where you need one compute node and you need one SDR, right? And then you can have either a simulated one or what are the controlled RF, where the cabled one, right? So this is simulation, this is cabled, right? And this is a full-fledged over-the-air transmission. I'll skip that, and I'll encourage people to reach out to me if they need any more detail. I think it will not be possible to cover everything. So this is a few points I have written. Don't try to read this slide. I'll just give an essence. So the scheme which has already been done, I think more details are going to be shared in this session later, right? So this scheme is not adequate on the 6G research part. So this is something which I have tried. This you will find different, and this scheme is still not addressing how this deep tech guidance and hand-holding exercise should reach to the newer institutes and the organizations. This is something which you should bother. And then the mechanism to ensure the test bed is compliant to the all future releases of 3GPP. This is something in some important aspect. I think you people should have your thoughts on that when you become a selected person to receive the test bed through this scheme. And also bother about how are you developing the use case when you need an outdoor. So at least 2 examples, agriculture and the intelligent transport systems. If you want to do any research and any solution development in this regard, you need a campus-wide network, right? So the specifications which are currently available in this is good only for the indoor coverage of one hall, something like that, right? So these are some idea which I would encourage you to look into the details little more. I would pick up one more slide where this is an example of a factory network. Now there is a debate how these 5G network would be deployed into the factory as a private network. I think those cases have already been defined. although the early releases of the 3GPP was not adequately compliant to meet these requirements, but the releases 16 and 17 are really are. Right. So these solutions can be put into the industries, and we can teach our students and the researchers what are the current gaps in these solutions and how they can be implemented. So we have created a list of at least 20 such exercises which we want to do it here through our research and the MTech projects. So I'll encourage people to come to us if you need more knowledge. We can create at least 100 such examples of the real problems which are yet to be solved by 3GPP but needed by the industry to make it really efficient for implementation. I'll skip. This is one important slide I want to cover is up to a fourth generation network. The IoT systems were only based on that you put a modem, whether each modem would consume almost the same amount of energy and the data rate as your smartphone does. But if it is used in a cost-effective IoT systems, that much of the power consumption and the cost both are deterrent, right? So you have to design a device which is cost-effective, consumes much less power, and also should have an advantage of a link budget, that suppose a electric meter is to be placed in the basement, then also that network connectivity should reach there. So with these goals, an NB-IoT was created. And NB-IoT was very successful, but NB-IoT equivalent in 5G, which is being developed, is actually coming in release 17. It is actually not available so far. So what else has come into the network is the real-time aspect, which makes your all systems as a real-time critical IoT systems. Now for these critical IoT systems, now IoT becomes 4 type of IoTs. One is massive IoT, when the large number of sensors need to be connected. In 4th G beyond, it was NB-IoT. In 5G, it is going to be NB-IoT plus a reduced cap. Then the broadband IoT is the high data rate, which is you need for say AR VR applications. Critical IoT, where you want to control telerobotic operations, say for example of ultrasound to be done remotely, surgeries to be done remotely, flying vehicle need to be controlled. So all these weapon need to be controlled remotely. So all these are example of a critical IoT. So which is based on the real-time capability of the network. And as I discussed, TSN, time synchronous network, this is important for industrial IoT or industry 4.0. So when we are developing IoT solutions, these IoT solutions of 5G would be totally different what IoT solutions were being visualized, say even 2 years ago. So when we are talking about a use case development, I would request people to have a look what kind of use case we want to develop, just for the purpose of educating to a student, or for the purpose of developing a solution which is really competitive. This probably is one slide. If you it is meant for only professors in this field, that this top right corner is a combination of what is the reliability of the network and what is the latency you are expecting. So this corner is something the network offers today. While going from the top right corner to a bottom left corner, the complexity increases. So, so you are able to get kind of an ITS network in current provisions of 5G. But if you really want to go a higher level of factory automation, of telesurgery, then you need to work on the areas which are the goal of the 6G. So whatever the beginning of a critical systems has been done by 5G, this is actually be realized over these next 5 years by introduction of the early 6G techniques. So we have to focus by research in this area so that our solutions are ahead, at least as competitive as the developed world, or ahead of the state of art. So this is the area our research should really focus. I would rather end at this slide. This is one example of monitoring of our mountains. The mountains, you have seen Joshimath problem. So we really don't know what is the gravity of this problem today. We don't know whether we should stop all commercial activities in Uttarakhand. Should we stop all visitors to go to the Uttarakhand, or it is a routine problem? Earlier also sometime it happened, and it has happened once time, so we don't have to really worry. Now to take such decisions, we need to put many newer capable sensors throughout this mountain, and these sensors must be put in some places engineered so that they can be dropped from the top. Now, these sensors must be communicating somewhere. So these need to be connected devices. That means they will need connectivity as well as they need the battery. So then how do we charge this battery? So number one, they need to be extremely energy efficient and they need to be charged. So that means if I fly a UAV over this, so this UAV should be able to wirelessly charge these devices, will give the connectivity, and when UAV is over these devices wake up, whatever data what they have gathered from the last time they have communicated back to the network, now they upload this data. This is the kind of mechanism we should visualize. These are our India specific problems, and this requires all those mechanisms which are not yet addressed in 5G and beyond. So these are the 6G research. We are working some of such proposals in research. We invite people from other academic institutions to be part of us. Maybe some portion of this bigger research program you would like to do at your place. So with this, possibly I want to end my talk. Thank you very much for listening. I'm very happy to take your questions.
पार्टिसिपेंट्स को दिखा के बोल देते हैं क्या क्वेश्चन, तो कैसे लोगे लेकिन उनको अंदर? अगर अटेंडेंस को क्वेश्चंस पूछवाने हैं तो कैसे करना है?
इधर लोगों ने लिख सकते हैं, टाइप कर क्वेश्चंस टाइप कर सकते हैं,
क्वेश्चंस चैट बॉक्स. Sir, some of them want to know how much funds are required to establish, say, 5G lab.
So my assessment is, I think that something has been budgeted for this first initial 100, but as I mentioned that that will serve one purpose. If the goal is to go beyond that, so maybe one need to decide how much they need, and we can share those details. So I think to me a basic setup can be taken up, say, from 10 lakhs rupees, and for some reasonable setup will require some 50 lakhs rupees, and if you really want to do a research, your minimum fund requirement should be 1 crore rupees. This is the spectrum as per my assessment.
The question is, government proposed 5G use case lab are in what frequency band and support which 3GPP release? If you have answer, please sir, you give. Otherwise, I will request Alex to answer this.
I think it is better that Alex answers that.
I think he will be covering in his presentation. So
yes. So this is the question to him.
So thanks, sir, for elaborating purpose and need to have 5G use case lab in so much details within limited time period. I hope our participants have now more reasons to start the course on 5G and go ahead towards establishment of 5G use case labs and even more towards 5G campuses. Thank you, sir. Now I request Sri Alex Vivek, ADG Standards Research and Development Innovation Wing of DOT, to make a presentation on 5G opportunities initiatives from DOT, including proposal on establishment of 5G use case lab. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Alex, you are audible. Go ahead.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen, sir?
Yes, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. First of all, respected DG sir, NTI PRIT, and Chairman AICTE, and other senior officers of Department of Telecom and AICTE. Thank you very much for taking such an initiative, sensitizing all the important institutions, AICTE affiliated institutions. And also I thank all the professors who has taken their time to come to this session and get to sensitize about what is exactly happening with respect to 5G. So the topic given to us is 100 5G labs. So before we go to the 100 5G labs, from the devotee perspective, we want to build what is that initiatives which devotee is taking in order to forward the R&D ecosystem in India. In that, we'll be covering even 100 5G labs as well, as everyone is discussing. So we had a good presentations today. First of all, I just want to give a perspective about what is an telecom ecosystem looks like. So if you can see this telecom ecosystem, why we are actually, this slide is very important is in terms of R&D mapping. Okay, what exactly happening in each institution, this slide is very, very important. If you see that ecosystem end-to-end telecom network, you can see.
Alex, if you can go to the slide mode, I mean, people are asking for full mode if
Yes.
you can do. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Hope it is full screen mode, sir, right now.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So kindly see this slide wherein which we try to bring in the whole ecosystem. So right now you can see the Sirohi sir spoken only about the 5G ecosystem. So where exactly this 5G ecosystem can be fitting in is this only this, you can say this BTS side. But you can see this large ecosystem where in which there is a fiber, there are routers, there are point-to-point links, there are even you can say like unlicensed band radios. There is a passive optical network, and there is a NOC, and there is an internet cloud applications. So you can see the end-to-end, these many strata are there in the ecosystem, where in which every point, you can say every topic in itself is a very, you can say elaborate one. We can talk about even device customer premises equipment. Nowadays, 5G CPEs are also becoming very, very important. When it comes to every village, when we try to cover through, one is using fiber and one is about households, how we can cover. We can even cover through point-to-point links. And even there is a new concept coming up, free space optical networks. So this slide actually gives the end-to-end ecosystem about the telecom thing. Now, let us come to the next slide. What first initiative devotee has taken recently is with the support of our field units, we have done mapping of R&D infra. For instance, today IIT Delhi has presented about what is their infrastructure available. You can see right side, IIT Delhi is having millimeter wave lab level infrastructure. That means almost like 40-60 gigahertz they are working. You can see left side mein IIT Madras. It is having as on today end-to-end 5G test bed, which is working on right now in the mid band. So these kind of mapping this R&D infrastructure is very, very important because there are so many activities like DOT, DST and MIT, multiple such fundings that are happening. Even like previously professors also pointed out, these fundings and all these things has to be streamlined so that we will come to know who is the one, what they are doing. And one more instance is like stakeholder consultations. For instance, regarding the quantum, how India should go forward. If you want to have a consultation, as on today, full mapping of the institution, only few institutions we know, maybe there may be some other engineering college under AICTE who may be working upon. So one of the key initiatives devotee has taken is mapping of this R&D infra. And parallelly with respect to institutions, what devotee has also undertaken is mapping of the product infrastructure from the companies. For instance, you can see, for example, this multiple E-band radio. This is a point-to-point link. Whenever you can see here, these are the point-to-point links where it can be utilized. So there are so many Indian companies who has developed the products. And you can see the GPON May, and you can see in the 5G radio, there are products. And there are even a cell site routers, there are products, chipsets, there are products. Why this is very, very important is in future going together, as rightly pointed out before, collaboration between the industry and the academia is also very, very important when it comes to technology translation, research translation into commercial products. So this mapping will enable us to facilitate the collaboration things, and also even to fund them in such a way that we can come up with clear objective of putting country first. So what we are trying to do is these are the key areas which we have come up, like one is quantum technologies, RF technologies, optical technologies, IoT technologies, and nano. These are the different categorization which we have done, in which we are trying to reach out to the institutions through our field units and getting the stats. If at all any one of your institution is not part of this engagement, I request kindly reach out to our nodal officer. The number and name is written here. So email ID is also available here. Please note down. I request you to reach out to us so that we can map your competencies, and in a better way we can facilitate you in terms of collaboration with the stakeholders, or in terms of funding, or in terms of other facilitation activities. This is the first thing which we are trying to share it with you. And sample format also we have put it. You can see here for in terms of RF technologies, we are trying to see what kind of labs infrastructure you are having, what kind of team you are having, what is the future roadmap you are having, so that it will be easy for us to reach out in a targeted way and try to facilitate you. This is one of the important activity which DOT is doing. Next thing is even other initiatives. In 2-3 minutes, I will try to complete regarding these initiatives, and we'll try to go to this 100 use case labs. So you can see the recently Government of India has released Bharat 6G Vision document. This has been released by the Honorable PM itself. So it talks in that we formed almost like a 6 key task forces. So these 6 key task forces, you can say the 6 phases of any technology. The technology, for instance, in our telecom technology, it's a very complex one which I have shown it with you. So it consists of network, it consists of devices, it consists of even spectrum, because the spectrum is also one of the key thing. For example, if anyone wants to test their product, spectrum is a very important thing. And also combined together, even Professor Sirohi talked about so many use cases, so innovative use cases. So combining this, we will be getting innovative solutions. And standardization, for instance, now we are talking about 6G standards. So it's not only about the innovation, these innovations has to be converted into products, and next level it has to be converted into a high level standard in such a way that globally harmonized products can come up. This is also very important thing. And also R&D finance. So I will tell about one point with respect to individual things where DOT has facilitated or DOT has taken an important strides. So first thing is, I will talk about the spectrum. In terms of spectrum, for any institutions, for any engineering institute, or even for any center of excellence, if they want to do something in the RF, so DOT made available spectrum. Almost you can say it's a free of cost. We will say that in a nominal charge of 5,000 rupees you can pay in any band, irrespective of whether it is a licensed, unlicensed, it doesn't matter. You can take it for an indoor kind of a lab setup, for indoor kind of a testing. It's through self-declaration, online portal. It is Saral Sanchar. Nowadays, it has been integrated to National Single Window Portal. So any one of the institution, any one of the COE can always get the spectrum if they want to do something in terms of RF. This is first key initiative. And one more initiative is even the professor also talked about private networks, enterprise networks. So in terms of the commercial engagements, government has released the guidelines called captive non-public network guidelines, where in which any one of it can be a factory, it can be even a campus, it can be anything for commercial operations. If I want to set up a network, so I can always collaborate with the TSPs, I can get the spectrum, and I can even establish my own enterprise network. There are 2-3 models which government has suggested. In the sense, directly you can take only spectrum and you can build your own network, or you can ask the service provider itself to can build the network, or there can be a hybrid model. So this is always, these are already available in the Government of India website. In the DOT website, you can get the CNPN rules. I will not go deep into it because this is only about giving the glimpse. Next thing what Government of India has done is in terms of R&D. So it has built an end-to-end 5G white box kind of a test bed at IIT Madras, and also it is also available in the IIT Hyderabad, where in which you can come, you can remove the component there, you can put your own component if you're working at the RUDU CU level or something, and you can get the view about how a 5G system works and how your system is working. So this is one of the important initiative taken, and also DOT is going to sensitizing the vertical ministries through establishing labs, even identifying the COEs in a multiple ways, that how the 5G use cases can be implemented, and also through vertical engagement partnership program. What DOT is trying to do is trying to reach out directly to the users. It can be in a hospital, a private hospital, or it can be even a factory, it can be even a you can say an airport, sensitizing them about the opportunities of 5G and collating all the 5G use cases data and then disseminating to them so that they can reach out, build the collaboration and do the pilots. This is one of the important initiative government is taking. So this is about the next generation networks, what we are trying to do. Devices, even devices also covered in customer premises equipments, which DOT is funding through its scheme called DCIS. In terms of standardization, already 6G, DOT has taken a very important step, as already mentioned by Professor. And in terms of 5G, one of the important, you can say, success for India is which that IIT Madras as well as TSDSI, with the support of TEC, have developed the standard for you can say a rural kind of a BTS, which has been harmonized and became part of the 3GPP. Now it is became an international standard. Is one of the important achievement with the support of DOT. When it comes to the innovative solutions, already what we have done is interministerial committee it is done, and also vertical engagement partnership program we are doing. And one more important initiative which we have taken is bharatdigicom.in. Even I invite all the experts of the institutions to become part of this Bharat Digicom initiative. You can see this slide here. This bharatdigicom.in is kind of a one-stop platform where the startups, industry, and even we are inviting academia to be part of it. You can see even in a glimpse, what we are trying to give is we are trying to give what kind of market opportunities available, what kind of announcements are there, and what kind of new schemes government is coming up. You can see at the left side, and where exactly the pilots are happening, 5G use case pilots, and what kind of technology products are available. So, and even who are the experts, like for example, if I say quantum, who are the experts? If I say 5G, who are the experts available? So it's an exercise, you can say ongoing exercise from the Department of Telecom to map the stakeholders and bring them together for the benefit of the country. So I invite all the professors who are part of this webinar to be part of this collaborative initiative, so that together we can explore and we can do something big for the ecosystem. This is one of the important initiative which we are trying to do. And spectrum covered, innovative solutions we have covered, next generation networks we are covered. And I request everyone, it is available, DOT website Bharat 60 vision document is available. Please go through it. Please sensitize yourself about what is happening, and then try to reach out to us so that we can position you in terms of any task forces or in terms of important consultations. Please reach out to us and get registered in the Bharat Digicom portal. R&D financing, already DOT is trying to fund through their recent schemes such as Digital Communication Innovation Square, and also important scheme is Telecom Technology Development Fund, where in which multiple institutions has already applied, and then shortlisting of the institutions is happening. Now, the important thing which we are trying to do is, let us come to the 5G use case labs. Before we enter into the use case labs, I think hope already my predecessors has sensitized you about the technological benefits of the 5G. I will not take much time here. So when we thought about 5G use case lab, what we thought is that lab should cater all these requirements. That means as on today, if you can see that commercial deployment outside, whatever the 5G is happening, that is happening mainly in terms of the EMBB. enhanced mobile broadband. So, and even you can say initial phase there will be some hiccups, but soon it may reach to some higher speeds wherever the 5G launch is there. Now, the important aspect which we are looking at is even for the students or for the faculty or for even the startup community to explore the other two phases of the 5G, that is massive machine type of communication and ultra reliable low latency. These kind of deployments are quintessential when it comes to the innovative use cases. It can be health, it can be public safety, it can be vehicle to vehicle, it can be industry 4.0. You can see here, like when I say about massive means, it's like almost they are saying that 1 million devices. If I say ultra reliable low latency means it's like in milliseconds and it should be available 99.99%. Maybe even professor also answered the reliability of the Wi-Fi network. Already there are legacy systems exist, but the main issue is the reliability of the Wi-Fi network compared to the 3GPP network. There is a lot of difference. Let me come to the next thing. So based on that, so you can see in that diagram right now how 5G can transform in our day-to-day life. Our main intention goal of the 100 5G labs or whatever the devotee intention is to bring digital transformation across the verticals. Just if you see this glimpse in our day-to-day life, how much transformation the 5G can bring, we have brought it in one slide. It can be the buildings, it can be the utilities, it can be smart cities, can be consumers. So there is a lot of scope for it to bring the innovation. And the same picture has been depicted in a different way. This has been given by the European Commission. You can see it in their slide. It can be smart grids, it can be cities and multiple things. Okay. So now we got a concept of this is the transformation ability of the 5G labs. So how the 5G labs need to be built? Yes. Yeah. Yes. So now we are at the slide 5G 100 use case labs. So this we are going to make it like a simple discussion kind of a thing. I don't want to make it like a webinar. So when we started, we are very clear. Our vision of the honorable minister, sir, the objective is to build the competencies for the students and the startup communities at the nook and corner of the country. So this is the vision given to us. Based on that, what we have done is we have clearly incorporated our objectives that these labs has to be distributed across India, and then students and startups should get the benefit out of it. So we have concentrated mainly with respect to the use case segment. And next query, who will apply? Means who can apply for this? We have made it even a little bit broader that all the higher educational institutions can apply. Higher educational institutions as engineering colleges and also any specialized institutions. For example, if anyone is in agriculture domain, if anyone is in transportation domain, if they really think that they can utilize the benefits of the 5G, because as you see, the benefits of the 5G is across a vertical. So even the eligibility is given for them. And then one more thing what we are trying to do is selection and eligibility. So when it comes to this, what the kind of criteria which has been suggested is NIRF ranking, because it is almost like India-wide accepted ranking, which can even compare one institution to another. NIRF ranking and also geographical distribution, and then the institution readiness in providing the facilities such as space, power, internet, and all other aspects so that they can maintain the lab and they can make it better utilized for the startups or for the students. So this is one of the eligibility criteria we have taken. And the roles and responsibilities also, it is clear. If you can see that link which is shared with all the AICTE team as well as with the engineering institutions, the role is the ratio right now is 80 is to 20%. That means 20% of the capex need to be paid by the institutions, and approximate amount has also been mentioned. So the institutions has to be ready to pay this amount to get the benefit out of the 5G labs, because this is the one which will bring more seriousness and also which will bring more enhanced utilization. That's what the senior officers discussion that has been deliberated. And then responsibilities, as already mentioned, safety, security of the lab, as well as utilization of the lab, as well as you can say the connectivity, space, everything is the responsibility of the institution. Now comes to the deliverables. What we thought is, yes, it's the lab is being established, but the utilization of it will grow to multifold only when the access has been given to the students, faculty, as well as to the local startup ecosystem, because they are the one who is going to bring the innovation. So even deliverables also, we have specified certain number that yes, okay, this year you are doing this course, so these many students should come, they should tinker with the lab, they should come up with some innovative use cases. So at least these many students has to test these by using this 5G lab. That is clearly mentioned. And also one more thing what we have mentioned is even pilots, lab to field. That means there should be an effort. It should not be only stayed in the lab. Our intention is whatever the pilot, whatever the use case which you are developing, it can be agriculture, because these are all evolving in nature. And then we don't want to fix a cap to it. That's what our DOT team, what they thought is, yes, if someone is developed something, even they should put an effort to do the pilot with the local state government or with the central government. For this purpose, DOT and TCL team, we are there always to support. That is also clearly mentioned with respect to the deliverables. And few people may be having a spectrum query. As already previously mentioned, spectrum, it's made available for R&D testing. And this one, any institution, any beneficiary institution, just log in, create their own login in that portal, and then at the nick of the moment, then and there itself, by just putting that network diagram and other things which will be supplied by the vendor, you can put it, you can get the experimental license done. So you are ready for you can say kind of a turnkey project. You are ready to establish the lab and then take it forward. Spectrum is also clear. Now few people may be having query regarding how a use case lab looks like. What we have done is we have done some preliminary research. At this moment, even TCIL team, which is our implementing agency, TCIL, with the help of domestic industry, we are trying to even explore more. We are trying, they have already called for a proposal from the vendors, explore more about the model, means what are the basic equipment which we can provide so that every institution can get the maximum out of it. And as already mentioned, for instance, recently professor also mentioned about air pollution and also mentioned about you can say smart meters. So the moment I say use cases, there is no end out of it. So it became as a massive exercise for us, having interaction with all the stakeholders, including Professor Sirohi sir also helped very much. So we had a good interaction with the industry, we had a good interaction with the academia, and then finally we have come up with some standard model which can almost cater the needs of the use cases. What we have done is here, first thing we are trying to bring in 5G equipment, 5G RAN and core. You can see here the key attributes which we try to define in the core is the configurations, whether it is a network in a box, whether it is a open RAN kind of an architecture, whether it is a RRH BBU kind of an architecture. So we made it even given freedom to the vendors in such a way that, okay, you can bring it anything, but it should satisfy some key KPIs. So KPIs has been clearly given them. What are our KPIs? How many active devices it can connect? How much throughput it can bring? What is the MIMO configuration it should have? So these KPIs has been defined, and then the key attributes, what we have done is we have given them the freedom to come up with their solution. So vendors are almost ready. The pre-bid discussion also happened, and soon they will be ready with the solution. And then slowly over the time, we will get more clarity. But as of now, we have a trust on our domestic ecosystem that they are going to bring us a very good quality lab. So everything has been defined here. And then one more thing we are bringing is management dashboard. The main difference between the commercially available, like for example, if the moment I put a 4G, 5G SIM right now, and I can do it, and when it comes to lab, the experience has to be different. So what we have done is we are bringing in a management dashboard kind of a concept, where in which a student or a startup or faculty, whenever he's trying to do, he can configure the network and he can see actually the flow, how it is happening, how when I'm trying to control a drone, for example, through my mobile phone, how the instructions are going and how it is able to control. So that kind of transparency we brought it, rather than like an opaque network. So this management dashboard will help in that network. And application server, as most of the applications required high-end computing, so for to support the edge computation and other important applications, we have also proposed to have an application server, and then a router with a firewall is also been suggested. And along with this, the important thing is, yes, this is about the network. Now comes the main important part, how to connect with the use cases. What is the use case? Use case is, for me here, it can be any device, it can be a connected car, it can be a drone, it can be an agriculture IoTs, it can be health applications. So in order to enable all these things, we should come up with something like, for example, in order to bring the intelligence, it should have a modem. Okay, so in order to, this is like a private network. In order to work, we need to have the SIMs which is connected to the network. So we configured, means that vendor or whoever is there, as a package, they will be supplying the configured SIMs, and also if possible dongles, and also they will try to supply a gateway IoT, where in which the legacy, the existing IoT devices can also get connected to that 5G network, and where you can do some analytics. So we don't want to get away with the legacy one. And also 5G IoTs, which are nothing but which can work based on the 3GPP. IoT gateway is for the non-3GPP kind of an IoT device. And for instance, you can see here like 5G mini drone. This is just an optional thing which we are putting, which may evolve based on the vendor discussion and the final standard model. So mini drone, we are trying to bring in where, because we have seen in multiple facets, drone application is almost common across the verticals. And AR VR, like when I talk about industry 4.0, predictive maintenance, so AR VR headsets are very very important, handsets, and also use case devices. It can be you can say air pollution monitoring, it can be even a connected car one. So there are endless number of use case devices today, and also they're coming up. It's even slowly market is building. So we don't want to fix anything right now. Whenever it is getting evolved, it will come, and soon we may even take inputs from the selected institutions also. But right now, the lab model which we are trying to provide you is a standard 3GPP model. And even in this, one of the query people has asked 3GPP releases also, so we are making it like a forward compatible. As on today in the market, what is available is 15 and 16 is coming. So we make it mandatory that until 16, and maybe in future, for instance, after establishing a lab, maybe 1 or 2 years when 17 becomes, you can say, practically realizable in terms of a products. Maybe at that time, even institutions can have a collaborations. And one more important thing which we made given flexibility is, individual institution can always take up with the vendor to expand this lab. This lab we are building in a modular way. In the sense, for example, someone has asked a query called which band we are going to put. As of now, to bring in the more transparency, uniformity, what we have done, band N78, mid band is the one which we are trying to deploy. In future, if the institution want millimeter wave, yes, they do have a flexibility. They can always collaborate with the vendor, because vendor is already having expertise in terms of supplying a 5G equipment, and implementing agency TCL is already having an expertise. So they can collaborate with them. They can expand this lab. They can put one more radio with millimeter wave. So in terms of supporting the institutions and this one, DOT is always there. Now our main intention is to install the lab which can serve the initial purpose of, at least you can say, getting tested by the student, generating the interest, and then more and more appetite for use cases. The moment you start working on, I'm sure that your institutions are going to give us more inputs about how we can even enhance the scope of it. So this is about the 5G use case lab structure. Now, just as an example way, you can see here, two examples we have given. The moment I say, if any institution is mainly focusing on health, so you can have a little bit of a health focused devices, which you can bring in. Just a moment. Yes. So this is about the 5G health applications. Yes, I'm almost done. So we have talked about the important initiatives of the DOT, and then the use case lab structure, and then their deliverables. Open for queries right now.
Box three. Chat box दिखाइएगा please.
Few participants have written certain queries, like I saw one query where a participant has asked that can they establish one of the 5G labs if they are not accredited. So we don't have any embargo from our side from establishing a 5G lab. So because once the lab is started, it is subsequent to that any NV accreditation for that specific program will be sought. So you may go ahead and start a 5G lab.
More questions, please.
I think one of the experts would like to reply. There is a question that how much fund is required for setting up of a 5G lab. So anyone, maybe LXG and Sirohi sir or anybody, Brajesh, you can take up this question. What is the estimated expenditure on setting up of a 5G lab, and can these experts and these organizations can do a hand holding for those academic institutions that are willing to set up 5G labs?
Sure, ma'am. First, Professor, you want to speak? Yeah, please. Professor Brajesh or Professor Sirohi, you want to speak first?
I can take that. I mentioned this part in somebody had asked there that the cost of these labs, depending on what you are trying to do, should vary between 10 lakhs to 1 crore rupees. And particular costing for this 100 test case lab, Alex will tell you more. And I have especially mentions that we are very keen to provide that hand-holding support for the people for research as well as for the development of the use cases.
I think, sir, we can share your contact details because the institutions that are particularly interested and serious about setting up the lab can reach out to you for that mentoring and for that coaching, that how to go about it. There is a question about NIRF ranking that I can reply. It is not the lab, 5G lab is not given any ranking. It is the NIRF ranking is for the whole institution or for a particular, say, there is a specific ranking in pharmacy or ranking in management or ranking in engineering and technology. So one lab alone in standalone mode is not evaluated for any NIRF ranking.
Thank you, ma'am. So I will take the question about that 100 5G labs cost thing. As already clearly mentioned in that, the cost as of now, which we are projecting, is 40 to 50 lakhs. Even Professor also mentioned the same thing. And one more thing what we have done is, one is use case lab template is also available, and the expression of interest, which is by TCL, is also available, wherein which all the institutions can get a first hand idea about what does the lab look like and what are the components of the lab. This white paper, we will try to make it available to all the engineering institutions also, where we have put use case lab template. So one is about being part of this 100 labs initiative. If not, if the institution is really interested, they can always have a separate engagements. They can establish their own labs also. That also is encouraged. DOT can become a knowledge partner for them. Thank you.
Next, I will just add on to it that our chairman has written to all the IITs, triple ITs, NITs for these labs, and I have personally written to all AICTE approved institutions. Now, this template, if you have any identified experts, if there can be, if there is a system of entire hand holding and that template you can share with us, we will also circulate among all AICTE approved institutions with the contact details of the person so they can reach to you when they want to set up this 5G use case lab.
Sure, ma'am, definitely. We'll try to share the things because the TCL being our implementation agency, they have this expertise. The template along with that, we'll try to share the contact details with you.
And the institutes who somehow not figure out in those hundreds institute selections list, and they are very keen to set up, then they can also approach us.
Yes, sir. That's what. There are 2-3 models like Professor Sirohi sir also mentioned. They can always approach, IIT Delhi, or even this based on this template. They can themselves can establish because there are multiple vendors available. Thank you.
Also do it in a self-financing mode without expecting a funding. So many of the institutions would actually be requiring that hand-holding and mentorship where fund may not necessarily be the criteria. So if the institutions are willing to put in their own resources for setting up of the lab, I think this hand-holding would be very crucial, and we can go ahead without the set or we can go beyond the set criterion that has been set up. Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Completely with you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, thanks, Alex. We are now the near end of our webinar. I request Dr. Mamta Rani Agrawal, Advisor Policy and Academic Planning Bureau, AICTE New Delhi, to conclude the webinar. Over to ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Our chairman in absence, who actually addressed this gathering in the morning, Professor T.G. Sitaramji, Shri Raju Sinha, Director General of National Telecommunication Institute for Policy Research, Innovation and Training, Professor Brajesh Lalji, Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Delhi, Professor Krishna Kumar Sirohiji, Bharati School of Telecommunications, Technology and Management, IIT Delhi, Shri Alex Vivek, Alok Bharti ji, my very sincere and a very distinguished colleagues from AICTE. We have Dr. Dinesh Singh, we have Dr. Naveen Arora, and we have Dr. Amit Singh who are sitting here. All other dignitaries, we have a lady from the Sector Council and Bharti ji. It is indeed a pleasure to speak, but I know that I'm speaking at the end of this session and the receptivity of most people may have absolutely be run out. So I'll just try to make it as crisp and as short as possible. Also, the reason is that I am no expert at all on either 5G or 6G. Our Honorable Prime Minister has recently launched the 6G vision document as well as the test bed for research and development. And on 1st of October 2022, he launched 5G services. And the penetration of 5G services has been enormous. In this field, we would actually be requiring manpower. We would also be creating millions of jobs. And if we really want to capture the opportunity that has been presented, and yesterday I was attending one-day workshop on AVGC, that is animation and then visual effects, gaming and comics, and where it was told that gaming, which is growing at a rate of 500%, and the total sector of AVGC, that is $290 billion by 2030, with I think of CAGR of 17% or something like that. The focus for India is mobile, and mobile in terms of networking, in terms of availability of those smart devices, and also the networking. So I think we also need to understand that how many opportunities this is offering to us. So what I want to request all the people who are here, all the experts and who actually have an expertise on this rather than me, that let us change with the faster pace of change. We all know that change is the only thing that is we all need to do. But I think this technology is posing a different threat to us. So we need to change with a much faster pace of change before technology becomes redundant. So let us revise our curriculum that fast. Let us have our pedagogy, our assessment patterns, our entire learning format, experiential learning, hands-on training come together. We have a very, very collaborative way of learning where our actually the slideshow is not needed, where we have such a close collaboration between industry and academia, that our knowledge is transferred from academia to industry, and the technology is being transferred. And then, we also not really work in silos, come together, create a hub and spoke model. India is a big, diverse, large country. So anywhere you are, if you have expertise as either as a human resource skill set expertise, or you have laboratories, please do optimum utilization of resources. Please do hand holding. Please create master trainers who can finally have this cascading impact and can train more and more people. I also urge and request all the people who have connect in the industry to go on to the industry and create that synergy so that we all can come together and create a workforce that can actually mitigate this opportunity. And we create an ecosystem that we become the global leaders in advanced communication technologies. So my only request and urge to all of you is, let us all come together, holds hand, as academia, as industry, and share our resources for optimum utilization of the resources. Change very fast. All the professors who are here can write to me anytime you require a change in curriculum, in change in pedagogy, change in assessment pattern, change in experiential learning. You want to give us some guidelines which we should circulate among all our institutions. But let us deliver a very holistic technical education that makes our country a $5 trillion economy that is being envisaged by our Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. At the last, I request Alok Bharti DDG Skill Development, to share his views and make vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Respected Chairman AICTE, Professor Lal, Professor Sirohi, and the other speakers, and the faculty, those who are connected to this webinar online. It was a very good session. Professors, the technical, what is the 5G, and how what the government is doing to make the ecosystems of 5G throughout the country with the industries and academies. It has been very widely discussed in this webinar. So I just want 1 or 2 points before I just propose the vote of thanks. Just I will add to 1 or 2 things. Is because the Department of Telecommunication has taken up this missions that we should develop the ecosystem of 5G and 6G throughout the country. In the we should have our course curriculums should be supportive to the 5G, what the industries will be needing the coming years. As you will always be aware that the Prime Minister has inaugurated 5G services in Delhi in October 2022. Thereafter, TSPs are launching 5G services in every district, and it is expected that by the end of this year, it will be rolled out throughout the country. So the general perception how for a common man, how the 5G is different from the 4G, what is available today. It will not be seen very much, but the low latency and many connected networks simultaneously is one of the key features which makes it different from the others for other generations of the mobile communication. And this is the place where we find that we are just we should there is an opportunity for the youth for the job opportunities. And for that, the Department of Telecommunication is working with the DGT, AICTE, UGC, Department higher education, that the 5G courses should be included in the ITI job roles, diploma, undergraduate courses, and PhD levels. And in that respect, we have approached the AICTE chairman, and I'm very thankful the AICTE chairman has included these 5G courses in electronics and communication and computer science engineering, CSE. And this seminar has been organized on request of DOT by the AICTE, just to sensitize the engineering colleges that what are the opportunities, that there is a lot of opportunity for the students who are passing out from the engineering colleges in the coming years in the 5G's area. So the student must be asked to kindly off the 5G courses in their third year and final year, so that when they come out from the engineering colleges, they should get a good opportunity to get the jobs. And in this direction, I think those engineering colleges who connected to this webinar, they will take this message, and I hope they will ask their students to take the 5G courses in their third year and final year courses. And for that, Department of Telecommunication is setting up, giving the support to set up 100 5G test labs. And in addition to that, the telecom skill sector is also setting up the 5G active test labs in other places also. So this seminar in this respect is very goodful, very informative to this, I think will be very informative to the participants. And at the end, I just thanks to all the professor and faculty who have joined. I specifically thanks Chairman AICTE, Professor T.G. Sitaraman, who has taken the time to address us in the beginning. I am very thankful to Chairman AICTE. I am very much thankful to Professor Lal, Professor Krishna Kumar Shirohi, who has taken from his busy schedules and given a very informative lectures on this. This will be very, very much informative. In addition to that, I am very much thankful to Alexa and AICTE and TSSC and NLB also for giving their presentation. Thank you so much.
We will now leave this session. Thank you.